Olivia, I have a favor to ask. Can you clean my room for me?
Huh? Are you coming home, Sophia?
You know that I'm pregnant, right? I'm planning to give birth in my hometown.
Have you told Mom about this? I don't think she mentioned anything about you coming home.
No, I haven't told her yet. I just decided a while ago.
I thought this wasn't your plan from what I remember.
Yeah, I never planned to give birth in my hometown, but I realized that where I live now is pretty close to my husband's parents' house. I don't want them to visit our house often to see the baby. It's tiring. I have a feeling that his mother is really excited about me having a baby.
Oh, I see. Okay, I understand your situation now. I'll clean your room for you, but be sure to tell Mom about this as soon as possible.
Yep, I'm planning to text her later. Mom's still out working, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she'll be home by noon.
I'll text her when she finishes work then. By the way, when are you gonna get married and leave the house, Olivia?
Why would you ask?
You're single and you live with your parents. You don't even work for a company.
Well, that's true, but depend on my parents for my living expenses. I'm capable of supporting myself with the money I earn.
Oh, I remember. You call yourself a cartoonist, don't you? Are you serious, Olivia? Do you think that's a decent job? You're 30 and you still haven't produced a hit cartoon. Stop relying too much on our parents.
I told you I'm not living off my parents. I earn my own living expenses myself. It's true that I sometimes depend on them to take care of my laundry, but I'm a full-grown adult looking after myself.
I'm married and even pregnant now. But look at you, Olivia. I bet Mom and Dad are disappointed in you.
Seriously, Sophia? How am I a disappointment when there's you? Do you understand how much trouble you've caused our parents? Quitting your job and asking them for money? And I heard you still ask them to send you money even though you're already married.
I'm contributing to the aging society by giving birth. And I'm giving birth to their grandson, who they always hoped to have. I thought you were also happy about me getting pregnant because you no longer would be pressured about getting married.
I'm looking forward to meeting your baby too.
Right? The truth might hurt, but it's clear that I'm the better daughter. To be honest, I don't think my jobless sister is in the position to criticize me.
How many times do I have to tell you that I have a job?
Okay. I guess you're pretty delusional.
Just leave me alone. If you're gonna make fun of me, I won't clean your room. I've lost all my motivation to do anything for you.
Are you seriously going to make your pregnant sister clean the room? Wow. I never knew that my sister was such a terrible person.
If you want me to clean your room for you, shut your mouth and stop saying nasty things about me.
I'm just worried about you, sis. You should really stop relying on your parents too much. Trust me. Our parents are also aging, all right?
Says you. I honestly think you should be worried about yourself more than me.
Oh my goodness. Stop being jealous of me just because I'm married and you're not. Be sure to clean my room, okay? I'll text Mom about me coming home later. If you can't even complete this task, you're completely useless in the household, sis. Hey, Olivia, can you get me some ice cream and jelly? Oh, and also get me 2 pieces of strawberry cake from the new pastry.
All right, but isn't that too much? I saw you drinking some juice and eating snacks before I left.
I can't help it. I need to feed both myself and the baby.
You eat twice the amount we eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner as well, Sophia. I think you're eating too much.
You're annoying me. Just give me what I ask. Respect the pregnant lady. Follow her orders.
I've never been pregnant, so I'm not sure, but I thought you weren't supposed to consume too much sugar and carbs when you're pregnant. I've heard that it results in high blood pressure.
It's fine. I'm perfectly healthy. Stop with all the nonsense. You don't understand what it's like to be pregnant. It's my body, and I know the best about it.
All right. I'll get what you asked for, but be sure to pay me back later, okay?
Huh? You're gonna make me pay?
Of course. You always ask me and Mom to get stuff for you. But do you know that it costs us more than $30 every time we go shopping for you? Imagine how much it costs us monthly if you make us go shopping every single day.
Why do you have to make it sound like a big deal?
It is a big deal. It's a huge expense, Sophia. Didn't Mom tell you when you came home? I'm pretty sure she told you that we'll provide you with your basic needs and living expenses, but you'll have to pay on your own if you need anything else.
I can't believe it! Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. And Mom's also serious about this. When my friend came home to give birth in her hometown, I heard she prepared all the money beforehand.
That's ridiculous. Why would I have to pay when I'm at my parents' house? It's the parents' duty to take care of their children. You have a weird friend, Olivia.
It's not like we're asking you to pay for all your living expenses. We want to support you as much as we can, Sophia. We're just asking you to pay on your own when you need anything that's not part of your basic living needs.
But snacks and sweets are part of my basic needs too. I'm not asking for much.
Think about the large amount you eat on a daily basis. You eat several packages at once. Ask us to get you sweets from famous patisseries, and even make us get expensive stretch mark creams. Why would we have to get these for you all the time? Why do we have to pay for all these things you ask us to get?
I'm staying at my parents' house. My family can pay for me while I'm here.
Sophia, you have to understand that our parents don't have an infinite amount of money. Plus, Mom is helping you prepare with the baby equipment. I think you're asking for too much.
You're so annoying. My jobless sisters shouldn't have the right to interfere in my business. The money you're using to buy my snacks are not even your money. Stop pretending like you're paying when it's all of our parents' money. You're being arrogant, you know that?
It's my money. I earned them myself.
Oh, I get it now. You're pissed because you can only earn a teeny tiny amount of money on your own.
Of course not. I'm telling you again, but I'm not gonna buy all of your sweets if you're not gonna pay me back later.
Okay. I'll pay.
Are you serious?
Stop annoying me and just do what I tell you. Be a useful sister. It's the least you can do for your family.
Sophia...
Oh, you're making me feel tired. My stay would have been better if you didn't annoy me so much. If only you weren't here. So lucky to have nice parents. I love them so much.
You shouldn't think that they'll always be nice to you.
Huh? Why would she be harsh to her daughter, who would soon be the mother of her grandson?
You're the one who thinks that way, Sophia.
Stop talking nonsense. I bet you're scared that Mom and Dad would only love me in the future. I wonder how many days are left until you're kicked out of the house.
That's not what I'm talking about. It makes me think that it's impossible to have a proper conversation with you at this point.
Stop acting dumb. You just want to ignore reality. I get it. You can't accept the difference between us sisters. One married and one jobless, living off their parents.
Let's end it here. I don't think I can have a conversation with you anymore.
Whatever. But don't forget to get me what I asked you earlier. I have to prepare for giving birth to my baby. Just do what I say, jobless single sis. Enjoying your vacation, Olivia?
Vacation? I'm on a business trip right now.
How can you be on a business trip when you're jobless? Stop making up ridiculous stories.
I'm only telling the truth.
Oh, poor Olivia. You're 30 but still delusional. I decided to treat you harsher so that you can face reality. You no longer have a room when you get home from your trip.
Huh? What do you mean?
I moved all your stuff into the garage. Oh, a jobless person like you doesn't deserve a room.
Did you move all of my stuff alone with your big belly? I don't think Mom would help you.
Of course I didn't. That's ridiculous. My husband did all the work for me.
Your husband?
Yep. I asked him to quit his job and come live with me. My husband and I would be living in our parents' house from now on. So, get out of the house, jobless single sis.
Okay. Was this your plan all along? To kick me out of the house?
Maybe. Who cares? I guess your annoying attitude made me want to kick you out. Even though you're jobless and not in a position to criticize me, you kept bothering me. I feel sorry for you losing your home, but it's your fault, Olivia.
Just because I'm kicked out of my parents' house doesn't mean that I don't have a new house to live in. I bought a room in a high floor of a condominium, so don't worry.
Huh? Condominium? How come? A jobless single woman like you? Stop being ridiculous. You're crazy. You've lost your mind, sis.
It's you who's crazy. I bet you haven't told Mom about it yet, right?
Yeah, now that your room's open, there would be enough rooms for me and my husband as well as our baby. I bet Mom would be happy. I guess she'll even thank me. I successfully kicked out her jobless daughter after all.
You're really crazy, Sophia. You have no idea.
It's you who have no idea. You're a jobless, middle-aged woman living off of her parents, contributing nothing to society. I'm telling you beforehand that I won't even help you if you beg me to. Stop bothering our family. Don't you ever come back. Sis? Why aren't you answering my calls? I've called you so many times since last night.
I had a party to attend last night, so I was quite busy.
Mom was so angry that I kicked you out. She didn't want me to move in with my husband. She also told me that we were renting this house. I always thought we owned it.
Yep, we don't own the house.
Is it true that you were paying the rent?
Yep, that's true too.
And you're a professional cartoonist?
Yep.
So you're really moving into the condominium?
I never lied to you, Sophia.
You never told me! I never knew you were actually making money by being a cartoonist.
I told you I was earning enough money to support myself. Plus, I've always said that I draw cartoons for a living.
I didn't think you were a professional who earned a lot of money. You could have told me if you were a pro. Hey, what's your pen name?
I'm not telling you.
Why? Let me brag about having a famous cartoonist in my family.
That's the reason why I don't want to tell you. First of all, I don't understand why I have to tell you, who's been so rude to me all this time.
It's because I didn't know. I wanted to ask you, is it true that Mom and Dad are also moving into the condominium soon?
They're moving after you give birth and leave the house. We're selling the house as well.
Oh, I see. Then I guess my husband and I will also join you in the condominium.
Huh? Why would you think so?
My husband quit his job and came to live with us. He agreed to look after our parents when they're older and need extra care. In that case, we should be allowed to live with you, right?
You're talking nonsense, Sophia. The condominium is not our parents' house. It's my house, and I'm the owner. I invited Mom and Dad to live with me, but you're not invited. It's my house, and there's no room for you two.
You can't do this to us. Olivia! We won't have a house to live in.
Isn't it you and your husband's fault for deciding without asking us? Our parents never asked your husband to quit his job and come live with them. You should have discussed it with us in the first place.
It's because I always thought that we owned that house.
But that doesn't change how selfish you are. And it's none of my business. Our parents and I don't think we can help you at this point.
Our baby is almost born. You know that, right?
So what?
So what are we gonna do if we don't have a house after our baby is born?
You can still stay at our old house for a month after you give birth. There's plenty of time to find a new house.
We don't have money.
Huh? But your husband quit his job, right? I thought you two had some savings.
We never really saved money.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe he decided to quit his job when you two have no savings at all. You two really plan to rely on our parents, huh? You've been making fun of me all this time, calling me a jobless, middle-aged woman living off of our parents. But turns out that you were the one living off of them.
I'm so sorry, Olivia. Please let us live in your condominium.
I don't think I can accept that.
We have a baby. It's your nephew, Olivia. You have to allow us to live with you for his sake.
If you really wish for the best for your son, you two should work hard and become his role models. Stop relying on me.
I promise I won't make fun of you anymore. I'll help with the housework and also your job too.
I have enough assistants who would perfectly complete what I told them to do. There's nothing you can do to help me with my job.
The baby can help when you're drawing young characters. You can see him grow with your own eyes.
I do want to be by his side as he grows up. And I also understand that he's not to be blamed for this matter.
Right. Please let us move in with you for your nephew's sake.
But that's a different story. I don't really want to, but I'll prepare you some money as a way to congratulate his birth. That's the first and last thing I can do for my nephew. Use the money wisely and prepare for your new life.
No! I want to live in the condominium too, with Mom and Dad.
Did Mom and Dad accept that request?
No. They told me they've done enough for me.
That's the answer, Sophia. You've always asked them for money, even after you got a job and got married.
It was hard to make ends meet.
But you never thanked them or gave them anything in return. And what's worse, you were trying to depend on them financially with your husband. It's not like his company went bankrupt or he fell sick, but you still decided to rely on our parents. I heard your husband was planning to get a part-time job.
I wanted him to have enough time to look after the baby with me.
Salary from his part-time job cover all your living expenses? Weren't you planning to ask our parents for money? Your husband could have been able to look after the baby even if he was out working. And I think it's the parents' duty to earn money for their child. You two don't even have any savings. Now is the time when you two have to work extra hard.
I'll make sure my husband gets a stable job. So can we live with you now? We'll try not to bother you, Olivia.
You're still asking me to let you two live with us?
Please. I want to look after him properly. And I think it's best if he can grow up in a good environment.
You can't live with us, Sophia.
Olivia, I'm so sorry. I apologize for making fun of you, and I regret everything I did to you. So please help us. Without you, we'll have nothing left. No house, no money.
I won't help you even if you beg me to. Stop bothering our family. Don't you ever come back. Wasn't it you who said this to me?
I'm so sorry. I beg you for forgiveness, Olivia. It was all my fault.
You don't have to apologize. I won't be looking after you anyways. I won't bother you, so don't bother me. Don't come begging me for help. One last thing. You no longer have a home to come back to. My sister continuously begged to let them live with us in the condominium, crying a flood of tears. But my parents and I never approved. My sister and her husband gave up and started finding their new home. She successfully gave birth to her baby, and after a month of staying at our old house, my sister and her husband moved into an apartment which they were able to find after a long search. Our parents decided not to meet my sister, her husband, and their grandson until they were able to support themselves on their own financially. So I think my sister spent very busy days finishing all the housework while she also took care of the baby. I sometimes thought that I might have been too harsh on her, but my parents had a firm attitude about the decision they made, considering how spoiled my sister was until now. Her husband successfully found a job, and she told us that they were finally able to live together as a family after a year. My sister had to learn to tighten her belt, and she no longer asked our parents for money when she contacted them. She also apologized to me and our parents. It turns out that her husband's family also refused to help them financially, and her family seemed to have spent a really harsh year. Now that she has experience living under harsh conditions, she said she realized how much trouble she had been causing to her surroundings. She had made fun of me and even took out my stuff out of my room without my consent in the past. So I don't think I can develop a good relationship with her. But seeing her work hard as a mother made me want to wish the best of luck for her and her family. I guess I'm no different from my parents who still cherish her. Humans are capable of changing. It's hard and requires a lot of hard work, but we can always fix our mistakes. I won't be providing her with any financial support, but I'm planning to send my nephew a birthday present next year. Nothing can change the fact that he's my nephew, and he's not to be blamed for the incident. The relationship between me and my sister cannot be fixed, but I would always hope for the best for my nephew.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Hey, Faith, will you be coming to my wedding? You're my husband's sister, so I was kinda wondering. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I can't wait. I'm so happy for you guys. Seriously? I'm sorry? What's that supposed to mean? Don't you want me to come? Well, think about it. You'd probably only steal the limelight. I bet everyone would be fawning over you instead of me. This is supposed to be my big day. How is it fair that my sister-in-law gets all the attention? I really don't think there's any danger of that happening. I'd just be a guest. Oh, there so is a danger of that happening, Faith. You know how my family are with you. You're their golden girl. The woman who can do no wrong. I just know you'd ruin my wedding if you came. It's not just my mom and dad either. Practically, the whole family seem to think the sun shines out of your backside. I seriously doubt that. But even if what you're saying is true, it's probably just because there aren't any young girls on your family's side. It's like the sparkle appears in the eyes and they rush over the moment they see you. It's like they think you're the freaking second coming of Christ or something. Jeez, Harper, you really think so? I don't see it that way at all. You wouldn't be saying that if you knew what some of the conversations are like. A lot of it is just people asking about my private life. I could do without it, to be honest. I was the brightest flower in the garden till you showed up on the scene. Now, it's like everyone completely forgot about me, but they fawn over you at every opportunity. Me? I don't see the appeal myself. What do you have that I don't? I'm young too, and everyone knows I'm gorgeous, unlike you. Wow, thanks. You're such a charmer, Harper. I think this is all in your head. I don't agree with you at all. Why would you? You're the one who gets to reap all the benefits. So why are they all obsessed with you? It's 'cause you have a degree and I don't. Or maybe they all get giddy when a young girl smiles and woos them with their cheap flattery. Life must be easy as a people pleaser. I think everyone's just extra nice to me because I'm young and thinks I probably feel daunted after marrying into such a big family. Why does it have to mean they don't like you? I don't get your logic. I'm sure Chris's family will be the exact same towards you when you two get officially hitched. I won't deny it. You are gorgeous. You're way prettier than I could ever hope to be. I bet your family are gonna be super lonely when you're not around anymore. Really? Your dad said he was gonna miss you. I could never replace you, Harper. Why would anyone pay me any attention with a big bright beaming star like you up on the altar? Right! You're right! They all be glued to the spot, transfixed by my dazzling beauty. Of course they will. Why would anyone bother looking at you? Right? That's what I'm saying. Of course you're gonna be the star of the show, babe. You don't have a thing, to worry about. So, yeah, to answer your question, me and Dan are both gonna be there. You could hardly have your brother and his wife not show up to your wedding day. I knew this was a bad idea. You need to go home. You need to go home, Faith. Like, disappear, right now. Huh? Why? But the wedding's about to start. Not with you here. I knew I made a mistake by inviting you. You're going home, and that's final. My big day's gonna be ruined if you don't go home. I'm already in a rotten mood because of you. Why? What happened? Did I do something to upset you? I overheard you. You overheard me? Yeah, I just overheard you getting along like a house on fire with my husband's family. I was livid when I saw them all joking and laughing with you. What the hell do you think you're playing at, bitch? Whoa, Jesus, Harper, chill out. What do you mean, what am I playing at? All I did was go up and introduce myself to them, for crying out loud. Bullshit! You always do this. You're up to your old tricks again. I know it. You always have people wrapped around your little finger within 5 minutes of meeting them with that little Miss Perfect act of yours. They're my family, not yours, so stay the hell away from us. Little Miss Perfect? What the hell? I have no idea what you mean. I don't have anyone wrapped around my little finger. All I did was speak to them for a few minutes. Don't play dumb with me. I saw the big crowd around you. Why would you play happy families with my new family like that while leaving me off to one side like the black sheep on my own goddamn wedding day? The limelight is supposed to be on me. Are you trying to steal my attention? What are you talking about? All I did was comment on how much fun your wedding was. Besides, I'm not the only one who talked to them. Dan was with me the whole time. Well, I didn't see him because I was too pissed when I saw you trying to make yourself the center of attention. Anyway, I can't believe a word you say. That's not all. Even my parents were comparing us. I'm so sick and tired of it all. Comparing us? How do you mean? And in what way? They brought up your wedding when they saw me in my wedding dress. My mom said, Faith looked beautiful in her dress too. Can you even imagine how that made me feel? Can you? I don't want to hear about how beautiful some attention-grabbing bitch looked on my wedding day. Harper, I can tell you're upset, but will you please stop calling me that? I'm sure it was just a passing comment because the whole thing reminded them of mine and Dan's wedding. That's all. It hardly sounds like she was comparing us or saying either of us look better. Stop deluding yourself, Faith. She said you looked beautiful. My own mother said you looked beautiful on my wedding day. That can only mean she thinks you're more beautiful than me. Well, it seems like the only one comparing us here is you. Besides, what's wrong with being different? We all have our own unique qualities. I know there's no way you didn't hear everyone saying how beautiful you look today. Please take some deep breaths and calm down. This is all so unnecessary. Shut your mouth! I hate you! I should be the center of attention, not you. You're nothing but a disgusting eyesore, so get the hell out of my sight and disappear from my wedding. I'm here to celebrate you and your husband on your big day, Harper. Listen, I tell you what, me and Dan will just keep to ourselves for the rest of the ceremony, okay? I can tell it upsets you, so we won't speak to anyone else. I don't need you to celebrate for me. We can celebrate perfectly fine without you. Thanks. All it takes is one look at you to ruin my mood. Hurry up and disappear, whore. Jeez, so I'm a whore now too? You need to chill out. I'm your sister-in-law. Would it really hurt for us to try and get along? I've hated you since the moment I laid eyes on you. Yeah, well, somehow I kinda already knew that, but we're still technically family, so don't you think we should at least try to be amicable with one another? And there it is, your famous Little Miss Perfect act. God, you make me sick. You think you're so special just because you happen to have a degree and work for a prestigious company, don't you? Well, you ain't shit, girl. I don't think I'm special at all, I swear. There's the innocent little good girl act again. I'm gonna have a freaking meltdown if you don't get lost now. Ugh! Stop sucking up to my family. You make me want to vomit. Harper, please. You're a grown woman. Even if you hate me deep down inside, is there really any need to speak to me like this? Weddings are for adults. And hate to have to say this, but I really think you should start acting like one. Do not preach at me, you stuck-up self-righteous bitch. When the star of the show tells you to go home, you go home. Hurry up and get as far as possible from this church before I make you disappear. You're uninvited. Fine, I get it. If you're gonna act like this, then I don't have a choice. I'm going home. Thank God for that. Why couldn't you just have left as soon as I asked you? But are you sure this is what you want? If you kick me out of your wedding, I'm obviously going to see you a little differently than I used to. What? Are you threatening me? Hardly. I just don't like being treated the way you're treating me. Anyone would feel the same in my position. I have no obligation to respect someone who treats me like dirt. It should go without saying, but I won't treat you with the same level of politeness and respect as I have until now. What do I care? I have no intention of having anything to do with you ever again. I see. You know what? That works for me too. I guess this is it then. Goodbye, Harper. Why is the church empty all of a sudden? Where did everyone go? Where's my husband? And both of our parents? Did you do something? I tried to go home just like you told me, but everyone left with me. What? They left with you? Everyone said, okay, we're leaving too then. Oh my God. What about my wedding? What am I supposed to do now? I knew my brother would probably go with you, but why would my husband leave? I wonder. Beats me. Everyone just said they were coming home with me, and that was that. You said something to them, didn't you? This makes no sense. Maybe I did show everyone your messages. When I did, everyone kind of just agreed to leave and shared disgust with you. You did what? Oh my God, I can't believe this. I knew you were up to your old tricks again. Get a grip, Harper. You tricked them. You always do this. You steal everyone and everything I hold dear. Everyone used to love me before you showed up. Before I knew it, you were the center of attention and no one cared about me anymore. I may as well be invisible now, even on my own wedding day. Are you sure you're not making a misunderstanding here? Whether your family or your husband's family like me or not is a separate issue. The real issue here is that you're a selfish, narcissistic, jealous, megalomaniacal bridezilla with no regard for anyone else's feelings and less self-awareness than a potato. Aha! Finally showing your true colors, I see. I knew this is what you thought of me all along. How could you say those things? You're horrible. I'm the victim in all this. I did nothing wrong. You kicked me out of your wedding based on some delusional persecution complex just because you don't like me. I'm your sister-in-law, Harper. How can you call yourself a grown adult? Scratch that. Are you even sane? Your husband said he's very disappointed in you. Chris said that? He said he couldn't bring himself to marry someone so small-minded. You know what? He actually thanked me. He had no idea what you were really like. The wedding's off. I see how it is. You've turned everyone against me with your twisted lies, and now they're all ganging up on me. Even my own husband. How could he do this? Is he seriously ditching me at the altar? This can't be happening. Oh my God. Well, it's happening, and it's happening because of you. What you did to me was way out of line. Oh, Chris went around and apologized to the guests one by one. He told everyone the wedding was off and they had to go home. You can wait alone in that church for as long as you like, but you're not getting married. Don't screw me around. This can't be real. I can't get ditched at the altar. No, this is not the kind of thing that happens to me. What about all the money we put into this? Wasn't Chris the one who paid for everything? You don't have a job, do you? Chris wouldn't have called things off unless he was fully prepared to take the financial hit. That's how badly he wants out. I'll never forgive my mom and dad for this. They can go rot in hell for all I care. What kind of parents ruin their own daughter's wedding like this? They're evil. Pure evil. To think they'd trust a meddling bitch like you over me. You're not even related to us. How can you be their favorite? I wonder. I couldn't possibly answer that, Harper. But you know what? Your mom and dad are right next to me. How about we ask them directly? You ready? Here it comes. It's not that we have a favorite, dear, but the way you treated Faith, to be frank, was utterly despicable. Me and your father found it hard to justify staying at the wedding after finding out how you were really behaving behind our backs. What? Don't bullshit me, Faith. You made that up. Believe me, I wish I made it up. And there's more. They said they've been at their wits' end with you and your difficult personality for a while now. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. My difficult personality? What's difficult about my personality? Apparently, they were worried about whether you'd find a guy to marry and settle down because of how arrogant and self-absorbed you are. You'll stop at nothing to get your own way, no matter how much trouble you cause those around you. Not to mention your victim complex. You think the world's out to get you and you lash out in response to every perceived slight. But I did find a guy to marry until you came along and ruined everything. Sure you did. And they said they were super relieved when they found out, because they thought you'd finally grown out of your old ways and become the mature adult they always hoped and prayed you would. But it would appear you haven't changed one bit. You should know better than to act like this at your age. Can you even imagine how disappointed your mom and dad were when they saw those messages? I'm the one who's disappointed here. Stop trying to make this about everyone else when it's about me. I put everything on the line for this marriage. I'm never gonna find another guy as rich, as handsome as Chris. Oh, I see. So you were marrying him for his money? No, I didn't mean it like that. Why do you have to twist everything? Well, how else am I supposed to interpret that? I don't know. How about you try using your brain? Maybe your reading skills just suck. Chris is here too, by the way. He thought that what you said meant the exact same as I did. And I gotta tell you, Harper, he's pissed. He said, wow, so she was with me for my wallet all along? No, stop twisting my words. I didn't mean it like that. I could tell how angry he was as soon as he read it. He just told your mom and dad. Your situation just gets worse and worse by the minute, huh, Harper? It's all your fault, of course. Guys, please come back. Why are you all siding with that lying psycho bitch over me? I'm begging you. Please don't leave me. I can't be on my own. Please. Harper, are you still at the church? If you are, just hurry up and go home. You can't keep hanging around now that the wedding's been cancelled. I can't believe this is happening. No one came back. Not a single person. Did everyone really go home? Is this really the end? Your mom and dad told me and Dan we could go. So we're grabbing some hamburgers at a restaurant near our house right now. I got the impression your mom and dad would be meeting up with Chris's family for a discussion about today's, events. They were just about to head out in the car before we left. Something tells me divorce will be the main thing on the agenda. Divorce? But we only just got married. You spoke to Chris on the phone, right? Yes. He said he doesn't want any of the money he spent on the wedding back. He just wants to get away from me ASAP. So what? I told you to go home, so shoot me. Is that really the worst thing in the world? Does it really justify him being angry with me? Of course he's gonna be so pissed. What you did to me was horrible. Fine, maybe I did make everyone mad, but are we really talking call off the wedding levels of mad here? Seriously? Why can't we just talk things through? You know, if it was anyone but you who I kicked out, none of this would be happening. The only reason they're mad with me is because I had a nerve to stand up to their golden girl. I'm not so sure, Harper. I won't deny it's probably partly because they like me and are disgusted with you for treating me how you did. It's not just my parents and family who got wrapped around your little finger. My husband and his family are obsessed with you as well. You're a meddling, spiteful little witch who goes around turning everyone I love and hold dear against me. I knew I should have never invited you to the wedding. Me and Chris have been friends since before the wedding. Lies! You started trying to woo him as soon as you found out we were getting married. I can count the number of times you met on one hand, damn it. There's no way you should have this much influence over him. Wait a second. Do you mean... No way. Are you having an affair with my husband? Wrong. You're just talking crazy now. You know how me and him work in the same industry? Well, we hit it off day one when we met over work-related stuff. What we do is really specialized, so it's rare to find another person who actually understands it. Most people would think we were speaking a different language. We first met that night when you got blind drunk and fell asleep with your head in a toilet bowl, so you probably didn't see us. The first time you met? You mean New Year's Eve last year? Right. When we all got together at your folks' place, Chris told me there were some things at work that were troubling him. I've been in the business a little longer than him, so I was happy to have him bounce off his issues off me and offer some advice. He seemed really grateful. I get the feeling he's had a lot of respect for me ever since then. You mean you've had him wrapped around your little finger ever since New Year's Eve? No, Harper, just no. Why do you have to put it like that? Unlike you, I don't see people as objects to be used for my own personal gain. And as for your mom and dad being so good to me, there's a reason for that. Remember when your dad collapsed? When he had that stroke 3 years ago? Yeah. Your mom's been struggling with her back for years now, and there's no way she could have kept on top of his care. So I offered to do it. I took some time off work and lived with him until he was well enough so that they could get by without me. But you didn't even come visit him. Not a single time. I was busy with work back then. Your dad was heartbroken when he realized his own daughter didn't care about him. You think I wasn't busy with work? I took time off to look after him because some things are more important than money. Your mom and dad are obviously not going to take lightly to anyone mistreating me after that. Is that why they constantly shower you with attention? Oh, I'm not done yet. I covered the down payment on a loan back when they had their house renovated too. Then, I headed over every night after work to help with the decorating for a few weeks until everything was done. But you didn't lift a finger. Shut up! There's no need to say it twice. I'm still not done, Harper. There's something else you seem to be forgetting. Back when the wedding was still on, me and Dan agreed to pay for yours and Chris's honeymoon. We covered everything, from flights to food and drink, from the hotel to activities. I don't need you to tell me my brother paid for the goddamn honeymoon. I know that. Just shut up already. That was my idea. It was? I didn't just go out of my way to help your family, but I went out of my way to make life easier for you too. And this is how you repay me? By throwing it all back in my face? What's the matter, Harper? Cat got your tongue? Is the reason virtually everyone you know is angry with you finally starting to sink in? Well, fine. Maybe I got a couple of things wrong. I had no idea you did all of those things for me and my family. Respect has to be earned. You can't just waltz in and expect everyone in your new family to automatically like you. That's not how the world works. Kindness, thoughtfulness, and hard work get rewarded. But I did my best to make his family like me. What does doing your best mean to you? Either you were doing your best in the wrong way or your best wasn't enough. Something tells me that if you were genuinely doing your best to be accepted, they wouldn't be so happy to see the back of you. This is more than just being tossed aside. This is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to a human being in the history of ever. I got dumped on my freaking wedding day. This should have been the most happiest day of my life. But why did this ever happen to me? Because you were rampaging out of control and didn't care who you hurt if it meant getting your way. This was inevitable. Hopefully you'll learn your lesson and become a better person for it. Being young and beautiful will only get you so far. Harper's husband, Chris, immediately got to work on the divorce proceedings. He really dodged a bullet with that one. He bore the entire financial burden for the wedding since he was the one who paid for everything to begin with. But he's taking a positive outlook and sees it as the price he had to pay to learn a valuable lesson. Apparently his family are pretty well off, so it didn't do much damage in the end. What should have been the happiest day of my sister-in-law's life turned into the most embarrassing, no, a disaster of a kind you usually see on the movies. Me and my husband Dan live with his and Harper's parents, which means she'll probably never dare to show her face here again. Last we heard, she's living alone in some shabby old apartment in the rough part of the town while working part-time as a school janitor. Her parents make no bones about the fact they never want to see her again. She's not our problem anymore. She did this to herself, were the final words of her mom said on the matter. When you think about it, the way she managed to lose the support of her entire family in one fell swoop is quite impressive, and it speaks volumes about what they really thought of her. As usual, everyone's still amazingly kind and supportive towards me. Dan's family make me feel so welcome and accepted that I feel like their real daughter. I feel blessed to have them in my life, and I always do my best to let them know I'm grateful.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Hey, Sandra. You get finished up at the gynecologist?
Yeah, I'm just on my way out now, actually.
How'd it go?
I'm pregnant. They told me I'm 3 months along.
Oh my God, really? Yes! We did it, baby. I can't believe it. This is the best day of my life. What an incredible moment this is. I could do a song and dance. I'm so happy. Yippee!
Me too, sweetie. Isn't it amazing? It doesn't feel real yet, but I'm over the moon. It's like this weird, surreal mix of overwhelming joy and not feeling like I'm in the real world anymore.
No kidding, babe. I know exactly what you mean. I wonder if it's going to be a boy or a girl. I can't wait to find out. You don't know the gender yet, right? Is it still too early for that?
Yeah, of course it is. We won't be able to find out for a little while yet. If I had to guess, I'd say next month at the earliest, but more likely it'll be the month after.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess we'll just have to hold tight then.
Do you really want to know? Do you have a preference either way? I know a lot of guys want their first to be a boy.
Nope, I'll be happy either way. I just think knowing the gender would make it a lot easier to imagine what life's going to be like after it's born.
You do have a point.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I have to tell my parents the good news. I could do it over the phone, but I think news like this deserves an in-person visit. Should I head over now?
Would you mind waiting just a tiny bit longer? If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to wait until I'm a little further into the stable period. I'm sure everything will be fine, but God forbid we went around telling everyone and then the worst happened. I've been told it's best not to get your hopes up too much this early on.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. Okay, how about we pay my folks a visit once we know the gender? That way we can reveal everything in one go.
Would that mean I'd have to go to your parents' house?
I know visiting my folks might not be right at the top of your list of favorite things to do, but I think it'd make a good impression if we both went over to deliver the news in person. My mom and dad are pretty old-fashioned, so I'm set to take over my dad's company one day, and what they really wanted was for us to move in with them to help look after them in their old age.
I'm sorry that didn't end up panning out.
Forget it. I already told you it's fine. It wasn't your fault anyway. You probably wouldn't have been so opposed to the idea if they weren't so horrible and disrespectful to you. I totally get it.
I knew they hated me ever since we first met. I can't believe they still flat out ignore me despite us having been married for over a year now.
I'm really sorry about my parents, babe. They're impossible. But I want you to know you haven't done a single thing to deserve any of it. And it's not your fault. I hope you don't let it get to you. It's not your fault you were raised by a single mom. It really bugs me how they constantly bring it up, as if you should feel bad about who happened to give birth to you. And the only reason you didn't end up going to university was because your mom encouraged you to find a job instead, right? I think the way they poke fun at you for not having a degree is totally unfair. To be honest with you, I think they're a pair of oddballs.
Do you think maybe I should go to university as a mature learner? You do hear about people getting their degrees in their 30s, sometimes even older. Maybe that way your parents might back off, and who knows, they might even start being nice to me.
Oh, don't be silly, babe. You don't have to force yourself to go to university just to satisfy my parents. Besides, they think degrees are worthless unless they're from elite universities.
I see. I wonder if there's anything I can do. I offered to lend a helping hand with the family business, but your dad said he'd rather I didn't.
I'm serious, Sandra. I don't want you to worry a bit about any of the crap my parents say. Just forget about them. Obviously, it'd be a little awkward if you didn't come along to family events and special occasions, what with me being lined up as a successor to the business and all. But beyond that, there's no need for you to have anything to do with them. Let's keep your interactions to a bare minimum, okay?
You're right, I like the sound of that. But still, they introduced me to everyone as Little Miss Helper at the last Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not sure I'm going to be much use to your image as the next company president when they treat me like this.
I'm really sorry about that, babe. I'll have a word with them both about it, okay? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. What was going on with you and my big brother at Thanksgiving? You never usually talk to him.
It's not like we were making idle small talk or anything. He just asked me to help him with the dinner arrangements.
Even still, I think it'd be best if you didn't have anything to do with my brother.
Really? Why is that?
Remember when I told you before about him showing up out of the blue to move back in with our parents?
Yeah.
Apparently he got wrapped up in some shady business with some very bad people. Mom told me he didn't have a cent to his name, and when he turned up on their doorstep at 11 p.m. that night, they took him in and are keeping a roof over his head for the time being because He has nowhere else to go. But my brother's always been a lazy good-for-nothing. I mean, he dropped out of college for crying out loud. Who even does that? I'd be worried about you getting wrapped up in some kind of trouble if you two started getting along.
I doubt we'll start getting along just because I helped him set the table on Thanksgiving. That's literally the most we've ever spoken. I barely know anything about him. And besides, we hardly ever see each other anyway. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that at least one member of your family doesn't flat out ignore me.
Okay, I guess there's nothing to worry about then. Just make sure you don't go anywhere near him when we go to my folks' place in the future. Anyway, I'm about to head back to work.
Good luck, sweetie. I hope you're ready for tonight's supper. It's gonna be a tad more luxurious than what we usually have. Get excited!
Woo! You're the best, babe. I can't wait. Drive safe on the way home from the gynecologist. You're not the only one you're looking out for anymore.
George, are you there? Will you be coming home tonight?
Oh, I'm so sorry, babe. Some stuff went down at the office and I got kept way later than I intended. Can you believe Graham from accounting forgot to log one of the biggest orders we've ever had? The entire team's running around the office like headless chickens trying to clean up the mess he made. It'd be comical if it wasn't such a freaking disaster. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it home for a little while yet.
Wow, I see. That does sound pretty chaotic. Have you found time to eat amongst the madness?
Yeah, I stopped over at my folks' place on my break for a bite to eat. Oh, damn. You didn't make supper, did you?
Yes. You didn't message me, so I assumed you'd be home on time like normal. But it's fine. Don't worry about it. You can always heat it up in the morning.
I'm really sorry, babe. How are you feeling today?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking. The morning sickness seems to have stopped now.
That's great news, but still, you're bound to have sudden bouts of sickness and nausea when you're pregnant. I want you to rest if you feel like you need to. Don't go overdoing it on housework or anything, okay, babe?
Don't worry, I won't. Oh yeah, did your mom and dad say anything about the baby? They didn't seem even remotely interested when we announced the pregnancy to them yesterday.
No kidding. They were just as rude and blunt with you as ever. But my dad's been going around the office today telling all his employees he's going to be a grandpa. Looks like the bluntness was just a front. He's over the moon.
I see.
He's had the biggest, cheesiest grin on his face all day. I think he's even happier because it's going to be a boy.
Huh? Why?
Because that means he can inherit my dad's company one day.
Does that mean that's what you want for our son too?
Yeah, obviously. I'd feel terrible if my family ever lost the company.
I see. Don't get me wrong, if our son grows up and decides he wants to inherit the company one day, I'll be 100% behind him. But equally, if he decided he wanted to do something else, maybe go into a different industry or do his own thing, following his own passions, I'd be there to support him in that too.
Sandra, you should have known what you were getting yourself into when you married me. We have to produce a successor for the family business. Me and you aren't the only ones in this relationship, and it's not our decision to make.
But I want to prioritize our son and what he wants over the aspirations of anyone else.
It's fine. You don't have to get it. I've always found the sight of you funny.
What's that supposed to mean?
Forget it. As long as I understand, that's all that matters, right?
Why do I feel like you're trying to imply something?
All you need to worry about is producing a healthy son for me, Sandra. It's paramount that he grows up to be as robust and vigorous as humanly possible. So stop worrying about inconsequential gobbledygook and focus on looking after yourself. If you ever find yourself struggling to keep on top of the housework, I'm happy for us to hire a maid. I'm way too busy to help out around the house, so it might actually make sense.
Are things set to get busier for you now or something?
Yeah, but don't sweat it. Things should calm down in time for the birth.
I see.
Oh, hang on a sec. I have a message for you.
Huh?
My mom just suggested you go and stay with her and my dad instead of resting up at your mom's place after the birth.
What? Your mom said that? Really?
I knew it. News of their first grandson has made them completely change their tune. They must be really pleased.
If they really are, that's amazing news.
Something tells me things between you guys are gonna change for the better real soon. I can feel it already. I bet they're both gonna start being super nice to you. Onwards and upwards, right? So what's it gonna be, babe? Go on, move into my folks' place for a little while after our son's born, won't you? She's extended you an olive branch by offering to take you in like this. Your mom still works full-time, right? I doubt she'll be able to spare much time to look after you if you stay with her.
Well, it's true, she does. But I'd be lying if I said the idea didn't make me a little nervous. I can't just forget about how they've been with me this whole time. I think I'd feel awkward.
There's nothing to feel awkward about, babe. Don't sweat it. Your recovery and our son will be their #1 priority.
Can I have some time to think on it a little?
Well, I guess you don't have to give me an answer straight away. But to be perfectly honest with you, babe, I'd have a lot more peace of mind if we moved in with them. You know how busy I get with work. I'd feel super reassured knowing they're around to look after you. We'll be able to see each other on my lunch breaks that way too. What with their house being so close to my workplace, isn't that the ideal scenario in every way possible?
You really think so? Okay, sweetie, I'll think about it.
All right. Try to be positive and keep an open mind. If on the off chance you do move in with them and they start treating you like crap like before, I'll completely lose my shit with them. So if that's what you're worried about, there's no need. I have your back, Sandra. If you decide it's not for you and you want out, you can leave whenever you like.
Got it. Thank you, George. That makes me feel a whole lot better. By the way, what time will you be home tonight?
It'll probably be after midnight the way things are going.
Right, it's pretty late already.
I think it might make more sense to stay at my folks' place tonight. The trains are always full of weirdos at this time. Besides, I'm up first thing tomorrow morning too.
I see.
I'm sorry, babe. I hate leaving you on your own like this.
You'll get more sleep that way, though. I think it's for the best. Good luck with work. Hopefully they let you go sooner rather than later. Don't overdo it, sweetie.
You're right. I'd be of no use to anyone if I collapse from exhaustion. You too, babe. That little boy in your belly is our #1 priority right now. Don't hesitate to message me if you need anything. Good evening. Is this Sandra's number? It's George's brother, Adam.
Huh? Adam? Where did you get my number?
I'm sorry to message you out of the blue like this. I found it by looking through George's phone.
I see. So, what did you want?
I'm just going to come straight out with it. If you can, you need to divorce my brother. If you can't, don't ever come anywhere near this house again.
Huh? Adam, what the heck are you talking about? Divorce? Stay away from the house? Did I do something to upset you?
If you don't want your little boy to get stolen away from you, then I suggest you do as I say. Do not trust my family.
What's that supposed to mean? I am so confused.
You have been warned. You're not to discuss what I'm telling you now with anyone. Obviously, that also includes my brother.
Just slow down a sec. I have no idea what you're talking about. Wait a sec. Seriously? You as well? Are you saying all this stuff because you don't approve of me marrying your brother either? Ugh. I thought you were different to your parents. I can't go along with what you're saying, Adam. George is my husband. Surely you can't be serious. Could you at least explain why you're saying these things?
You're planning on moving in with us for your recovery after your son's birth, right?
Yes. George works a lot and I'd struggle a lot raising a little boy on my own. It was your mom's idea.
My family are planning on stealing your baby when you move in with them.
Steal? My baby? That's crazy talk. Why on earth would they do something like that? Me and George are his parents, so naturally we'll have legal custody. Even if they did steal him, we could just go to the police.
You're tragically mistaken. If they do get their grubby mitts on the boy, you may as well think of it as being the last time you see him.
Adam, please, what you're saying is absolutely insane. What exactly am I supposed to say to this? What, should I just blindly believe you? I need to discuss this with George.
No, you mustn't mention a word of this to my brother. He's fully on board with my parents' twisted plan.
No way, he'd never agree to that. George was over the moon when I announced the pregnancy. I've never seen him so happy. He loves me.
Do you really believe that? It's time to wake up and smell the coffee, Sandra. He's been coming home late ever since you announced you were pregnant, hasn't he?
That's because he's busy with work.
Not to lie. His company has a no overtime policy.
What? Then where has he been? He said he had overtime today, too.
It's time you learned the truth about my brother. About who he really is. And about what he and my family are planning together. You should prepare yourself, Sandra. This is going to come as a shock. Are you ready to know the truth?
I'm ready.
Very well. I have plenty of proof, so I'm going to start from the beginning. I doubt he'll be going home to you today, so time won't be an issue. All right, let's start with this photo. Sandra, where are you? I couldn't find you at home and your mom says she hasn't heard from you. Why would you leave the house without saying anything like this? Come home, please. I'm so worried you wouldn't believe.
Are you really worried about me?
Sandra. Oh, thank God you replied. So where are you? Go on, babe, tell me. I'll come straight out to get you in the car.
I'm not telling you anything. Don't even bother asking me why. You should know better than anyone else what's going on here.
What? Seriously? It's because I don't have a clue that you got me so worried. Before long, it'll be time for you to bring our little boy into the world. What the heck have gotten into you?
Do you know when I left the house?
Wasn't it today?
No. I left a week ago.
But you were messaging me normally until yesterday.
That was only to keep you from noticing. You pretend you're so worried about me, but you only come home to see me once a week.
That's not my fault. What am I supposed to do? I told you how crazy and hectic things have been for me at the office lately.
I know you're lying. You've been at the person you actually care about's house, haven't you? The only reason you married me is so I'd give you a son to inherit the family business. You were planning on divorcing me and taking custody the moment he was born.
Wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking about, babe. That's crazy talk. Come on, surely you know I wouldn't do that to you. What happened to make you act like this, Sandra?
If it's a divorce you want, great, because I do too. I have mountains of evidence of you going in and out of your lover's house when you were supposed to be doing overtime. Not to mention all the recordings of you and your parents discussing your wicked scheme to steal custody of my son. I'll never let you have him.
Wait, have you been talking to my brother? Come to think of it, he moved out of my parents' place a few days ago. God damn it, that asshole. He's been filling your head with lies, hasn't he?
All your brother did was tell me the truth, and I'm thankful to him. He's the only member of your family who isn't a despicable piece of shit.
Holy heck, Sandra, don't call me that. I'm your husband. No. You can't believe a word he says. He's a despicable one, not me. Trust me, believing him will be the worst mistake of your life.
So tell me, George, how am I supposed to believe anything you say? I know for a fact you've been cheating on me. I also know your girlfriend's incapable of having children. I also know that your parents refused to approve the marriage because she wouldn't be able to provide you with a son. They told you that they'd only agree to the marriage if you found someone else to give birth to a successor for the family business. That's why you married me, isn't it?
No.
Why do you insist on lying? I told you, George, I have evidence. I'll never believe another word that comes out of your mouth.
Sandra, please. Please come home.
That won't be happening.
Do you want money? If it's money you want, I can pay. Name your price, just give me the boy.
Don't screw me around, asshole. I am not selling my baby. I'll be raising him on my own. I'll never let any of you within 100 miles of him.
Sandra, please, you have to believe me. I never wanted to do any of this. My mom and dad, they wouldn't let me marry my girlfriend if I didn't give them a grandson.
Why couldn't you have just adopted like any normal human being would have in this situation instead of hatching a twisted child-snatching plot built on a web of lies?
They said he had to be blood related. I told you my parents are old-fashioned.
You really are a grade A idiot. You and your family must be the biggest morons ever to exist on the face of the earth. Do you think being worried about not having children of your own gives you the right to do what you did?
What choice did I have? I can't let my dad's company change hands. It stays within the family at all costs.
Even still, that doesn't give you the right to use me like some tool to be manipulated into giving you a son. Is that all my life is to you? Is that all our son's life is to you? You're sick. If you really must do what you tried doing to me, at least be honest about it from the get-go and find someone willing to go along with it for money.
Sandra, please, I'm begging you. If you don't give me the boy, my parents are going to force me to marry the daughter of one of my clients. She's so ugly. Babe, we're talking about a level of ugliness that's so extreme, so off the charts, that she'd have a better chance finding a needle in a haystack than finding a guy to walk her down the aisle with her. And don't even get me started on her personality. That's a whole other can of worms. My parents said I wouldn't be allowed to divorce her. They're threatening to make my girlfriend break up with me too.
I don't care. None of this is my problem. Besides, what's the issue here? That sounds like the perfect fate for the kind of scumbag who'd trick someone into marrying him to act as his personal baby-making machine.
Sandra, please. I'm begging you here. My life will be over if I don't give my parents the boy. Listen, babe, how does it sound? I bet you want your mom to live an easy life, right? She worked so hard raising you all on her own. It's only fair she gets rewarded. One word from me and my dad will give her so much money that she'd never have to work another day in her life. She could live in absolute luxury, ease, and comfort until the end of her days.
Ugh, you invoke such a profound feeling of disgust in me that it's almost so hard to put it into words. We're talking about a feeling that goes beyond mere dislike or irritation. It's more like a visceral reaction, a gut-wrenching sensation that makes me want to physically recoil and distance myself from you as much as possible. I mean, please, did you seriously think I was suddenly going to give up my son as soon as you started dangling bags of cash in front of my eyes?
But money is important.
Sure it is. But I'll get plenty of money from the compensation you're going to owe me for the affair. Besides, I still have my savings left from back when I was single. I'm perfectly capable of raising my son on my own. What's more, I'm perfectly capable of repaying the debt of gratitude I owe my mom without a single cent of your parents' money. How about you stop treating me and my mom like a pair of helpless, needy peasants just because I grew up without a dad?
I'm begging you, Sandra. I mean it. My life is over if you don't help me out here. Please. I'll raise our son with love and care. He'll never want or need for anything.
How could you possibly be capable of looking after our son properly when you're nothing but a spineless yes man who kowtows to your parents' demands, no matter how absurd they are? I'm not going to let you sacrifice our son on the altar of your bizarre obsession with appeasing your deranged parents' every whim. I get that they're foisting all sorts of ridiculous demands on you. But that has absolutely nothing to do with me or my son. He will not be the successor to your dad's company, no matter what. I'm going to give my child a bright future where he can make his own decisions. With that, I swiftly divorced my husband and received a hefty sum in compensation. Apparently, just like he feared, George's parents forced him to marry his client's daughter because he failed in his task of procuring a successor for the family business. His dad, as promised, also drove over to his son's girlfriend, the true apple of his eye's house, and told her everything. Needless to say, she was disgusted beyond words and broke up with him before the day was up. To my surprise, a few months later, I saw a piece on the news about how George's dad's business had been ordered to pay a massive fine after being found guilty of tax fraud. Unable to find a lender to bail them out, they went bankrupt. With my ex-in-laws from hell no longer able to afford to have George around, he moved in with his new wife's family, and I hear that nowadays he helps them run their family business. I dodged a bullet when I divorced him after our short spell of marriage, but it looks like he has no way out this time. George's parents, now being broke, are now almost completely financially dependent on the financial contributions of his new wife's parents. Which means their entire livelihood now hinges on brown-nosing them to keep that gravy train chugging along. And for better or worse, they'll most likely remain married forever. I heard that George's new wife isn't particularly interested in him, but is desperate to have kids and enjoys having him around to help with the family business. which means that now he has essentially been reduced to an errand boy and baby-making machine. What a sweet irony. Life has a funny way of working itself out, doesn't it? That said, I don't feel even an ounce of sympathy for him, and I'll never forgive him for as long as I live for what he did to me. I love he lives a life of eternal regret for lying to and deceiving me in an attempt to steal my son. Losing the love of his life and being forced to endure a life of marriage to someone he finds repulsive is only the beginning of what he actually deserves. While my ex-husband and his parents' lives descend into chaos, I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy. Between my savings and the whopping payout I got awarded in court for George's affair, I'm financially comfortable right now, so I intend on holding off on finding a job for a little while so I can focus on spending time with my son. George's brother Adam also very kindly sent me a generous celebration gift to congratulate me on the birth. I was so astonished when I saw how much he'd given me that I tried to decline and offered to send it back to him. But he insisted I keep it and wouldn't take a no for an answer. So I decided to put it into a savings account for my son when he gets older. To be honest, I thought Adam was a little blunt when we first met, but in the end, he turned out to be the only decent, kind human being in his whole family. He told me that the celebratory payout he sent me was no issue because he was the CEO of a company. My jaw almost hit the floor. I have my suspicions his momentary return to his folks' place had nothing to do with him falling on hard times, but was in fact part of a plot to expose their wrongdoing and bring them down once and for all. That's all just speculation on my part, though. The bottom line is I owe him a great deal, and I'll always be grateful for what he did for me. My only focus now is being the best mother I can be for my son. I'll never let anyone take him, no matter what. And I'm going to build a home full of warmth and love so he can flourish into the amazing person I know he is destined to be.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Hey there, Cammy. Are you back home from the funeral already?
Hello there, Aaron. I noticed that you weren't at my husband's funeral despite the fact that you're his mother.
Yes, I really wanted to be there, but I just had so many things going on.
You were too busy to attend your own son's funeral is what you're telling me. Didn't you want to have your last goodbye with him before he was cremated?
Well, I would have liked to, but I feel like there really wouldn't have been a point. I mean, you know that Tom hadn't been talking for some years before he passed away.
But it isn't like you two had a fight and decided not to talk to each other ever again or anything like that, right?
Actually, I suppose you could say something similar happened between us, actually. Tom borrowed money from me and then just moved out to live on his own. Not to mention that he hardly ever called home. He basically abandoned his family and wasn't a good son during his life. So I didn't really see why I should interrupt my busy schedule just to attend the funeral for a person like that.
Well then, why are you even messaging me like this in the first place?
Well, now I'm not so busy, so I think I have the time to head over and see where you're keeping him.
Oh, I see. Well, if you wanted to come and pay your respects, I think that'd be really nice, actually. In fact, I think he would really like it if you did.
Oh, yes, that's right. I'll be coming over to pay my respects. In fact, I'm going to be paying my respects to him every single day.
You're going to visit him every day? Sorry, I'm a little confused. Are we talking about the same things right now?
Well, I mean that as of tomorrow, I am going to be living in your house. So get a room ready for me. Thanks.
Sorry, I still don't understand. You want to live with me? Did you mean to say that you were going to be living near me or something? I don't get what you mean by that.
I meant exactly what I said. I'm going to be moving into your house, and you and I are going to be living there together.
So you're really going to move here? But who are all you bringing with you?
Oh, not many people, just me, my husband, and our daughter. That is to say, your sister-in-law.
Hold on just a second. Why are you doing all this? I don't understand.
Well, the house that you're living in right now belonged to Tom, didn't it? So, as his closest blood relatives, we should have a right to live in that house too. There are plenty of mixed-generation houses who a couple takes in one set of parents to live with.
I heard of that happening, but you have a house. Why do you need to move into mine? I mean, why would you put yourself through all this just to share a living space with me?
Well, we actually don't have another house since we sold our old place.
You're not serious, are you? You sold your family home?
You do know that it was my grandfather who built that house, don't you? And that explains why it's rotting and falling apart now. It's not fit for a family to live in. There's leaking when it rains, and the foundations of the house are starting to rot, which is making the house start to slant. Normally, a house like that would never even sell on the market, but we had a family friend willing to buy it for a discounted price. The timing couldn't have been better, though.
So then you really sold your house when you could have just hired someone to repair it.
Repair it? In the state it was in, it would have been cheaper to just buy a new house. We had repair costs for everything wrong with our house quoted at around $200,000. So we just thought that it would be easier to sell it and move into a new place. That is to say, your place. That way it wouldn't cost us anything.
I suppose you have a point there, but even so, this is all happening a bit too suddenly for me.
Well, I am so sorry about that. We just decided to move in with you the other day, you see.
I understand that, but you didn't talk to me about this once before now.
Well, that's because we decided as a family. So anyways, we're going to be arriving tomorrow in the evening, okay? So the least you could do is clean up around the house a little and try to make it look presentable.
Can we just slow down for 1 second? I mean, there's a way to change your mind about this at all?
That's right. We've made our decision and we don't intend on changing it. Besides, you are just Tom's wife. You don't have an actual right to tell us what we can and can't do now that he's gone.
But I'm going to be away at work around the time that you're going to be coming over. I work in the evening.
Well, then just leave a spare key for the house in the mailbox or something, jeez. We've already packed up our things and have been stacking boxes getting ready to load into moving vans. See you soon, Cammy.
Aaron, my house is a complete disaster. What did you do to it?
Oh, what do you mean? We're in the unpacking stage right now. Of course things are going to be a little messy.
This isn't what I'm talking about. Please do not just move my furniture and rearrange my rooms without asking me first, okay? And why were my clothes thrown all over the hallway? What is the meaning of that?
We didn't have any other choice. We needed to make room for the rest of our stuff and your things were in the way. It's that simple.
If they were in the way, then the least you could have done would be to gently move them out of the way and then put them back once you're done. You even moved Tom's urn from over the fireplace. Do you really not see anything wrong with this at all?
Oh, please, I just moved it off the ledge where I could have fallen. I'm sure my son's spirit will forgive me for doing so.
And where are the three of you right now? Did you all step out even though the house is a total disaster now?
Well, we were getting tired of all the moving and rearranging, so we went out to eat. We looked up a really good Chinese spot here in town. I think we might be regular here. It's so tasty.
I am so happy you're already setting in well into the neighborhood.
So, anyways, while we're all out eating, would you mind tidying up just a little? I mean, the least you could do is make sure that we have a space to sleep tonight when we get back.
Excuse me? You want me to clean up this mess by myself?
Well, yes. I mean, you're my daughter-in-law, that's your job. It's all thanks to the efforts of my late son that you're even able to live in a house like this. So the least you can do is take care of his family now that he's gone.
But I just got home from work and I'm exhausted.
Oh, you think you're exhausted? We've been moving things all day. If you're looking for pity from us, you've come to the wrong people. Honestly, you really have no idea just how spoiled you are. All you ever do is complain about every little thing.
Aaron, please, I do not mind helping you clean up all of this, but I just can't do it by myself. Can you all please finish your meals and come back? I would like some help moving the furniture back as well.
You mean you can't even handle doing that on your own? I wouldn't mind so much about how spoiled you are if you would at least do some work around here. You're still young, so quit complaining.
But I'm complaining about what you all did to my house. Don't you get that? And you were talking about needing to make room for all of us, but this place isn't built to house 4 people. I mean, the place only has 3 rooms.
You're right about that. 4 people is a little bit cramped. I know. How about you move out, and then there should be room for all of us?
You're asking me to move out of my own house?
Why do you keep calling it your house? We all know that Tom was the real owner. And as his closest family, that means that what's his is ours. You have no say in any of this at all. And we are well within our rights to throw you out of the house if we so choose.
What are you talking about? I'm the owner of the house.
Why aren't you out of the house yet? I thought I told you to leave us alone already. My daughter wants her own room and won't quit bugging me about it. All of our problems would be over already if you would just finally leave us in peace. Please, just get out.
So you really are going to try and take my own house away from me then?
Oh, please don't be so dramatic. It isn't nearly that bad. I already told you that we have the right to evict you since this house used to belong to my son. You don't have any room to argue.
And you really want the house so badly that you're willing to do something like this to get it?
It isn't about what we want. It's the fact that we have a legal claim to this house since it belonged to Tom. Now, you're going to leave peacefully and let us get on with our lives or else.
Okay then, if that's really how you feel about it, I guess I'll leave. I was actually thinking about moving away from here anyways.
Oh, really? Well, in that case, get lost and go moving there. We're going to be living in this house from now on, and we don't need you getting in our way all the time.
I already said that I was going to leave. I'll be out of your hair before the day is done. Although I should warn you that Tom didn't leave anything behind. There was no inheritance of his to claim.
Oh, what are you talking about? Of course he had things. He had things like this house.
No, I'm afraid that after all is said and done, when he died with nothing.
I seriously have no idea what you're saying. This doesn't make sense.
Then listen very closely, because I do not want to have to repeat myself. Tom died owning nothing. Do you get it? All his life, he was a horrible man who did nothing but cause trouble for others.
Wait a second, where's this coming from all of a sudden? What is this about, huh?
I mean that my husband, your son, was a horrible man. He used me, took my money, gambled it all away, and ended up in $200,000 of debt.
Hold on a second. Are you telling me when Tom died he was $200,000 in debt? Surely you must mean 20,000 or something like that, right?
I know what I typed, and as soon as he died, banks and debt collectors began reaching out to me looking for their money. When I got the first of these types of letters in the mail, I nearly fainted when I found out just how much in the red Tom was.
But I don't believe it. I mean, $200,000? That's way too much.
Well, believe it or not, it is the facts. I even have the documents to prove all of what I'm telling you is correct.
Why would my son do something so stupid like that? I mean, didn't he know anything about how to use money responsibly?
Well, that is one thing that we can agree on. Your husband is indeed an idiot. Not only that, he was a lazy, no-good, horrible person who buried himself in debt before dying. And now that he's gone, it's his family that is left to clean up his mess.
I see. I had no idea about any of this. But as his wife, you would be the one responsible for all of the debt now. I mean, you said the collectors were trying to get in contact with you, right?
Are you sure that I'm responsible for that? You see, the other day, I submitted my own nullification to inherit anything from Tom.
So you remove yourself from his will entirely?
That's right. So in other words, I'm not carrying any of his dead weight around with me. And while that means that I get nothing from the will, it also means that I don't inherit any of the debt.
But then, who is going to end up taking all of that?
Well, I believe he did specify the 3 of you as his heirs as well, right? You can get the house, but it also means that you're going to take on the debt.
Well, we want the house, but not all that debt. Can't we just get the house and call it even?
I'm afraid that is not how it works. If you want to inherit the house, you have to inherit the debt.
Oh, but we're talking about $200,000 here.
That's right. Well, actually, to be accurate, I think it's actually more like $2,100, $6,500.
But that's even more than $200,000.
Sorry, I was doing a little bit of rounding before.
There is no way that we're able to afford something like that.
Oh, come on. I'm sure that this is the three of you combine your efforts that you could pay that off in no time. I mean, you are three capable adults. Surely you can handle that, right? Besides, this is something that you can remember your son through. I know you can pay it off if you try.
But we're still all looking for new jobs right now.
What happened to your old jobs that you all had were working before?
We had to quit those so that we could move all the way out here. Besides, it wasn't exactly as if all three of us had what you would call careers anyways. So there's just no way that we're going to be able to pay back an amount like that.
I see. But what about the money that you got from selling your old house? Surely that must still be around, right?
No, we had to use all of that money to pay for the moving expenses to get to your house.
Wow, it must not have been all that much money then. But I guess you did say that you had to sell your house for cheap.
I don't need to hear that kind of thing from you. Why didn't you ever mention any of this before to us?
I just told you right now. What are you talking about? This wouldn't have even been a problem for you all if you hadn't just decided amongst yourself to move here. When I realized the types of people I was going to be dealing with, I knew it was going to be more simple to just remove myself from the process entirely. The bottom line is that the debt comes with this house and there is no escaping it.
The story has to be a little bit more complicated than that. I mean, if we lose this house, where are we going to live? We don't even have enough money to put yourself in a hotel for very long, and another house is totally out of the question.
Yeah. Well, you might want to take the camping things out of the garage and find a nice bridge to set up shop under. Although I think he hasn't touched the tent since it got torn up in a hailstorm. But a house is a house, right?
How can you talk to us so casually about this? Aren't we all family here? Besides, it's the middle of winter.
Yeah, I know. Feel free to take some of the winter clothes we have in the closet, too. You'll need them.
Of course we're going to need them. We'll freeze to death without them.
Hold on a second. Don't you have a car? Why not just bring a bunch of blankets in there and sleep that way?
You mean that cramped little sports car? How are three fully grown adults supposed to be able to sleep in that? We'll all have to curl up in little balls. That sounds miserable.
I see. Well, at least you have the car. Why not sell it and try to move back into your old house? Sure, it's falling apart and slanted, but it's better than nothing.
We can't. The person that we sold it to said they were going to tear it down. There won't be anywhere for us to go back to. Even if we tried squatting there before the demolition team showed up, we could get in even more financial trouble if we get caught.
Take on $200,000 in debt or live with two other people in a tiny car? That's like one of those icebreaker questions asked at a party or something.
This isn't a joke. It's our lives that we're talking about.
Well, either way, you're going to have to make the choice. You're going to have to make a choice. I imagine that you're going to choose not to take on the debt, though. Either way, you have to choose quickly.
How could our son do this to us? That stupid boy, what was he thinking?
Aaron, that's the sanest thing you've said all day.
Cammy, are you there? I have a little favor to ask of you. Is there any way that I could get you to help us out just a little?
Well, it's been a while since I've last heard from you. How have things been going?
Please, we desperately need money. We can't keep going on like this.
Oh my. Well, where are you all right now, and what are you all doing?
We're still living in the house. This damned house our stupid son left us.
So then you chose to take on all that debt?
We didn't have any other choice. We wanted to leave it first, but we couldn't.
Huh? Well, what is that? What brought you back to live there?
After the first week of trying to live and sleep in that car, we were all so sore and uncomfortable. My husband can barely even move now.
Oh my, I suppose spending that much time in such a cramped space really can't be good when your joints are that old. It's like you're living in an airline seat or something.
Well, anyways, that's why we had to go back to the house. We just couldn't stand to live like that anymore.
And it sounds like the choice has been made for you.
We even tried to camp outside a little, but it was so freezing cold we couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, we are in the dead of winter over here. I don't blame you for that.
It was either take on the debt or destroy our bodies. We thought about selling the house and putting it towards paying off the debt as well, but we would have to wait until the weather improved before we could even do that.
Sounds to me like you all are trapped there for a while then. Oh, and there was one thing that I forgot to tell you about the house. I'm actually not sure if you'll be able to sell it, actually.
What are you talking about? Why wouldn't we be able to sell the house?
Well, you probably noticed the mountain face that is basically right behind the house, right? We are just always suffering from landslides coming down the mountain from rainy season or construction. Basically, that house just doesn't have very stable foundations and is constantly at risk of a natural disaster.
You mean that mountain that I'm looking at right outside my window could come down on us at any time?
Well, probably not in winter, unless it snows a whole bunch. I just wish you the best of luck in finding a buyer. Either way, you'll probably only be able to get way less than whatever you thought you originally could. Sell the house if you want. I'm just not sure how much good it will do you, really.
This can't be happening. Why didn't you say anything earlier? We had no idea about any of this. You should have told us.
I really don't think that you would have listened to any word that I said, even if I did say anything.
Maybe so, but you could have at least tried to tell us. You didn't even say anything.
Why would I put that kind of effort into warning the people trying to kick me out of my own house?
Please, you have to do something to help us.
I will not. And I hope that living in that house reminds you every day that you got yourself into this mess. You may think that your son is an idiot for doing what he did, and I would even agree with you. But I also strongly believe that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. In the end, Erin and her family stayed in the house and took on the $200,000 of debt. That spring, however, the melting of all the snow on the mountain caused a huge flood that heavily damaged the house. Since they all lacked the money to pay for any kind of insurance, they had to leave their flooded home with nothing in hand. Now, they all live in a tiny apartment, doing their best working multiple jobs. As for me, I returned home to live with my parents for a while. While there, I met up with an old crush of mine and soon we were dating. He's very nice and kind and nothing like Tom was. All I want to do now is forget all about him and start my life over again.
Hey, John. You remember that the job we asked you to do is due today, right? Are you going to be able to finish it in time?
I'm sorry. I don't think I could do it today.
What? And you couldn't tell me that sooner? I feel like you have been slacking off a bit recently. I know I'm your wife, and it's easier for you to not take our company too seriously, but we are still your proper client.
One of my important clients suddenly asked me to do something for them, and that messed up my whole schedule.
That has nothing to do with us, though. And you talk about an important client, but our company probably has the longest relationship with you. You have to value each and every job you get equally. You're going to lose credibility if you keep doing this.
I'm sorry. I promise this won't happen again. I will definitely finish it by tomorrow.
Thank you. You have to understand that I'm in a difficult position. I don't want people to think that I'm cutting you slack because we are married. Please remember that.
Yes, I understand. But your boss likes my illustrative work too, right? I mean, it's not just you?
Well, yeah. But that's a different story from you not meeting the deadline.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Is your schedule that tight right now?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, I can cook supper for us tonight then.
Are you sure? I mean, it is my turn to cook today.
It's okay. I can do it tonight. I think I can finish a bit early today anyways.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm always relying on you so much.
You don't have to be sorry at all. You would do it for me too, if it were the other way around.
Of course I would, but still. I feel like the amount of work you have to do isn't really fair compared to mine.
Well, you are in a creative field. That requires you to always think about work and use your head even when you are not working. It's not like you have a set time to start and finish your work like I do. Every job is hard in its own way.
I'm so grateful that you chose to be with me, you know? I feel so fortunate to have such an understanding wife supporting me by my side.
What's gotten into you?
Well, actually, there's another reason why my schedule is so tight right now. You know my childhood friend, Rachel?
Yeah? Didn't she move out of state for her husband's work or something?
Yeah, she did. Apparently they're getting a divorce now, and she needed someone to talk to, so we were chatting for a bit.
Is that so? That must be hard on her.
Her husband is unbelievable. Even though he's the one who kept neglecting his family, he lost it completely the moment Rachel started seeing somebody else.
Wait, what? Hold on for a sec. You mean she was having an affair?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But it's all her husband's fault to begin with. Apparently he's been very cold towards her, and even yelling and screaming at her as well.
That's horrible. But still, she should have waited until they broke up. I understand why she would want to have someone to rely on in such a hard situation, but she couldn't have done something before she decided to have an affair?
She wasn't trying to have an affair, you know. It just happened out of the blue.
I'm sure there are people who would understand and support her like you do, but most people would still see it as an affair and judge her because of that.
I know! Her parents wouldn't even let her stay at their place because of it, even though Rachel has no one else to turn to, and she's been a housewife forever up until now. Isn't it horrible?
What about the guy she's seeing? I thought he was supporting her through the divorce.
As it turned out, he was also married. Of course, Rachel didn't know that.
That is a very messed up situation.
I wish I could do something for her, but so far the only thing I could do is to just be there when she needs someone to talk to. I've known her since we were little kids, and that's all I could do for her when she needs help the most. I feel helpless.
I don't think you need to feel helpless. I'm sure having someone to talk to who's also supportive of her is making a big difference for her. I'm sure you are being a big help.
You think so?
I know so. And she has to be the one who decides her future from now on, so you do what you can do to help her for now.
Okay. I'm sorry to have bothered you like this while you're busy at work.
Don't worry about it. I was on my lunch break anyways. You can concentrate on your work for now. You feel better now that you let that all out of your system, right?
Yeah, I should concentrate. I'll make sure to finish your company's project as soon as possible.
Hey, John. Are you out somewhere? I just came home.
Oh, hey, sorry. I'm just on my way home.
Where have you been? You were supposed to be in charge of the supper tonight, but I don't see anything prepared yet.
Yeah, it's okay if I just pick up some takeout tonight? I'll stop by somewhere on my way home.
When are you going to be home?
I'm not sure. I just left, so it'll take me about 40 minutes or so.
That's pretty late. I can whip up something easy for tonight then.
Really? That's great. Thank you.
Did you have a meeting or something?
No. Rachel asked me to see her, actually.
What? Rachel? She came all the way out here?
She got kicked out right after they submitted the divorce papers.
Is that so?
Hey, Miranda. What do you think of us taking her in for a while?
What? I don't know if I like that idea. I feel like things are going in a weird direction.
She doesn't have anyone else to turn to.
Well, I know, but I hardly know her. I know she's your good friend and she means a lot to you, but I don't mean to sound harsh, but she cheated on her husband and therefore got kicked out, right?
I told you she didn't mean for it to happen.
That doesn't matter. She still did it.
My precious friend is in trouble.
I want to help her. I know you do, but it's one thing if she needs to hide away from a domestic violence husband or something, but she's the one who chose to be in this situation. Even if I agreed to let her stay with us, how long are you thinking?
She just needs some time to rest and heal her wounds, and she wants to look for a job.
Right. but I still can't agree with this idea. I'm sorry. I don't care if you help her out financially using your own money, but I want you to separate that from our joint finances.
I can't believe this. I didn't know that you could be so ruthless.
What? You think I'm being ruthless?
Yeah, aren't you? If you can easily ignore someone who desperately needs help.
You are not really making sense.
Think about it. She's good at house chores. Wouldn't she be a great help for us, since we're both busy working and all?
Well, yeah. We are both working, but you work from home, and you have more free time at home than I do. That's why I ask you to help out with the housework.
You are right. I do have more free time. But I think it'll help me work harder if Rachel came to help things out.
I thought your work isn't too busy right now.
If Rachel could do our house chores, I could feel more motivated to work harder on getting new clients.
Shouldn't you do that despite having Rachel around to begin with?
Well, I have been taking on 70% of the house chores and you're only doing 30%. I always feel like I need to cut back on my workload because of that.
You think I'm only doing 30%? I think I'm doing more than that.
No, that's not true at all. You probably don't realize this because you're busy working outside. There are way more small chores to do than you realize.
Well, if you say so, but that doesn't mean I can agree on letting Rachel stay with us.
Why not? I don't see what the big deal is. It's only for the short term.
It is a big deal because I know it's not going to be short term, and I didn't say anything about you supporting her personally. I think I'm being very reasonable already.
We all have to help each other out when someone's in trouble.
I would never ask for such a favor from my friend if I were in her shoes, especially not to a married guy friend. I know she's in trouble, but it's a bit hard to understand.
I never thought you could be so heartless.
I never thought we would disagree on things like this either. Anyways, you have to come up with a different solution for her. Like I said, I'm never going to agree to this.
I have an idea if you're going to be that way.
What do you mean?
I think I'm going to stay out a bit longer tonight. I'm worried about Rachel. You could go ahead and eat supper by yourself.
Wait, John, are you planning on staying out for the night?
I don't want to be with someone who doesn't have a heart.
Hey, John, do you mind elaborating on this? Aren't you being too selfish?
You mean about how I brought Rachel home?
We talked about this. I don't want her staying with us.
I can't help it. She has nowhere else to go.
Have you even looked into the details on a woman's shelter? I heard that they help support women in these types of situations.
Why does she have to go to a shelter when she could stay with us? She could never relax in a place like that.
I know she's already here, and I can't suddenly kick her out or anything. But she has to find somewhere else to stay this week. I can't wait longer than that.
How can you say such a horrible thing? Do you realize how badly hurt she is?
I don't know the details of what happened between Rachel and her husband. And yeah, maybe it was her husband's fault like you say. But I still think she put herself in this situation herself. She should have asked for a divorce before she finds someone else. Then her parents wouldn't have cut her off like that.
What's the point of talking about what's already done?
Well, I know you can't change the past, but that doesn't mean you should do something I don't appreciate.
Miranda, have a heart. Rachel and I grew up together, so she's like family. Maybe for other people it seems like she made a bad mistake, but I want to be on her side even in that case.
I get where you're coming from, I really do. But you can't ignore my feelings like this. I'm sorry, but I still can't let her stay with us.
You still don't get it? I would consider getting a divorce if you keep acting this way.
What?
I'm that determined.
Oh, is that so? I didn't think you would bring up a divorce. You can do whatever you like then. But you should probably worry about yourself since you just lost your job.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that there's no reason for my company to give you any more business ever again.
That's oppressive!
Who's being oppressive? Aren't you the one who's threatening divorce to get what you want?
But divorce and work are completely separate matters.
You have to understand that I give work to any illustrator that happens to be available. And I choose you only because you're my husband. Our company can always pick other illustrators to work with. You only got this work because you had me as a connection.
You're threatening me.
It's not like we have a long-term contract or anything. You could try suing us if you'd like, but I doubt you would be able to win.
I only want to help Rachel. I can't just leave her all alone when she's in trouble.
I have been having a difficult time understanding your selfish behaviors anyways. I mean, should there be any other person who's more important than a husband's wife?
Hey, Miranda, are you still not coming home?
Is it Rachel there?
Well, yeah.
It's been a week, as we promised. The fact that you still have her there means you decided to prioritize her, right?
No, that's not the case. I was going to ask her to leave, but she was really down from what she went through, so...
So?
I'm sorry.
Saying sorry doesn't change anything.
Miranda, please. I want you to come home.
What makes you think that I would? In fact, I'm going to come by just to pick up my stuff. One of my colleagues helped me find a new place.
What? A new place?
Yeah, we are getting a divorce, aren't we? I'm going to need a new place to live.
I didn't mean that seriously.
So, you only said it to threaten me? That's even worse. Either way, that really disappointed me and made it easy for me to contemplate divorcing you.
Hold on a second. I don't want to get a divorce.
Do you even understand what's causing the situation we are in right now?
Please, I'll do anything. I will get more clients without completely relying on you. I'll make sure to pay any expenses related to Rachel.
Are you still talking about Rachel?
Well, because if I don't help her, she's...
Well, you can live happily ever after with Rachel then. I will stop by with all the paperwork we need for a divorce within the next few days or so.
No, I don't want to break up.
What? Aren't you the one who brought up divorce to begin with?
I told you I didn't mean it seriously.
That was something you should have never said. I can't stay married to someone who uses the divorce card so lightly, just as a tool to threaten me.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
I'm way past the point where I would even consider forgiving you. And are you so blind that you can't even see how Rachel is just using you? What kind of woman cheats on her husband, gets dumped because of that, and also gets dumped by the guy she cheated with, and then asks her married guy friend to take her in after that?
She was just in shock from the divorce.
She's just refusing to take any responsibility for anything she did. Why do I have to provide support for a woman like that? She thinks she can just mooch off of people to survive, even if it means she's breaking up the other family. She wouldn't do that if she had any common sense. She knows that she caused us all these relationship issues and still has the nerve to stay in our house.
Don't say it like that. I'm sure she's just trying her hardest to overcome the situation.
I'm trying my hardest to overcome the situation too. Would you have cared about me more if I showed that I was hurt and heartbroken more obviously like she did? I was trying to work and live my life as per my usual self, but I was hurt.
I'm sorry.
It's too late for any apologies.
Okay, I'm going to ask Rachel to leave. Al will try to keep you away from all her troubles from now on. Does that sound good? Would you forgive me then?
Definitely not. The person I'm upset about the most is not Rachel. It's you.
I promise to listen to you about everything from now on. Please don't abandon me. How am I supposed to live without you?
I thought you said you were going to work harder to earn more? You can work hard and make enough money to provide for Rachel. Also, we always said we would both do the house chores equally, but I always have had to do more. Even for your job, you can never meet the deadlines and always ask me for help in the end. I have always supported you because you're my husband. But this was asking way too much, even for you.
I'm sorry. I'll make sure Rachel leaves. Miranda, I'm really sorry. I was taking you for granted. I was getting too selfish and wasn't thinking about you at all.
Too little, too late. I can't forgive you even if I wanted to, because apparently I don't even have a heart, right? You'll have to excuse me on that.
You're not heartless. You always cared for and thought about me.
You do remember you're the one who said those things to me, right? But I think you were the real heartless one here, because you chose to care more about another woman rather than someone who supported you by your side all these years. After that, I was able to divorce him. My ex-husband kept fighting for a while to try to avoid divorce. But in the end, he wasn't able to make Rachel leave and realized he had no right to fight the divorce as a result. He also had to give up his job as a freelancer and start working for some company to pay for the rent. He was just barely making ends meet, and apparently, he wasn't happy with Rachel for not doing anything all day at home, and they kept fighting with each other. In the end, Rachel met somebody else and left him. He finally realized who Rachel truly is after that, and he told her parents about the whole situation and where she is right now. Apparently, he completely cut off any relationship he had with her and regrets everything. I found out all of this from a letter he wrote me through our lawyers. But the only thing I thought after reading his letter was how stupid he is. I don't regret anything. It's nothing to do with me, even if he is regretting everything he did. I don't think we will ever get back together ever again. Since we got divorced, I was able to focus more on my work, and I'm really enjoying my single life. And my life got so much easier as well. John claimed that he was doing more house chores, but it was obvious that I was taking on more. I always had to deal with all the dishes and the laundry that he left out every night after I came home from work. But now that I'm alone, I only have to take care of myself. And I don't feel any unnecessary stress. And yes, maybe Rachel triggered this, but I feel like we would have broken up sooner or later anyways. I had chosen to support him and his career, but I learned that there is a limit to that. I don't have any time or space to heal my wound like Rachel did, but I have my family, friends, and coworkers who care about me. I will work hard for my career and remember to spoil myself from time to time, and completely forget about this nightmare and move on to find my own happiness again.
Mia, I have a little favor to ask of you tomorrow. I need you to take me somewhere in the car just after noon.
Hi, Agatha. It's nice to hear from you. I'm really sorry. I have plans tomorrow afternoon, so I won't be able to do that. I'll be free in the evening, so how about I come and pick you up then?
Plans? What on earth is a stay-at-home housewife doing making plans?
Yes, I have plans.
Well, in that case, you'll postpone those plans until next week. My shopping trip is far more important than anything you could have going on in your life.
You want me to take you out shopping?
That's right. I won a gift voucher at the last neighborhood watch meeting. Things this exciting never usually happen to me, so I thought I'd make the most of it and head over to the shopping mall that recently got built in Peepstown.
Those vouchers are usually valid for quite a long time. Have you checked the small print on the back? Besides, Peepstown is a 2-hour drive. I'm happy to take you, but I can't do it tomorrow. Can we take a rain check?
No, I want to go tomorrow. I usually never win at these things. I've got a spring in my step and I want to claim my prize while the excitement is still fresh in my mind. You understand that, don't you?
Sure I do, but... Look, Agatha, I'd love to take you, but I just can't. I'm really sorry. I'll take you another time, I promise.
Oh dear Mia, how very disappointing. Whatever are we going to do with you? Did you forget what I told you? I hope you haven't forgotten how lucky a poverty-stricken high school dropout like you is to be married to my high-earning Harvard graduate like my son. In spite of your unfortunate background, in my infinite kindness, I said I'd be willing to acknowledge your marriage if you worked your very hardest to win my approval. Did you forget?
No, I didn't forget.
Me and you are going to drift further and further apart if you continue to refuse to help me when I need you to. Is that what you want?
Agatha, please. I mean this with the utmost respect. But just because I want to win your approval doesn't mean I'll do whatever you ask me to at a moment's notice, sacrificing my personal life in the process. I want you to acknowledge me as your son's wife, not your chauffeur.
Don't get an attitude with me, young lady. Your suitability as my son's wife is exactly what I'm asking you to prove to me. If making him happy was your #1 priority, you'd do whatever it took to contribute to the well-being of the family as a whole, not just affairs within your own home. Supporting your mother-in-law is supporting your husband, and supporting your husband is your job as a wife.
But I have unavoidable plans tomorrow. I'm really, really sorry, but please, can we reschedule?
Oh my, why do you have to be so stubborn? How much clearer do I have to make it that I want to go tomorrow?
Sorry.
My son is an elite high earner. There's not a woman on this planet who wouldn't be proud to have him on her arm. You hit the jackpot by landing a guy like him. You should be counting your lucky stars he was kind enough to marry someone so much further down the social ladder than himself. If he had any sense about him, he wouldn't have looked at you twice. In a fair world, the best someone like you would be able to get is an overweight store clerk, or maybe a homeless drug addict. In spite of that, much to my misfortune, he married you. Now ask yourself, who was it who raised that lovely, kind husband of yours?
You.
That's right, me. Which is why my word is law. You're intelligent enough to understand that, aren't you, dear? You should know that my son is a good boy and he'll do whatever I say. Well, apart from marrying you, obviously. But that's the only time he ever disobeyed me. I don't know what got into him, if I'm honest. Just what does he see in you? I could understand the lack of educational history if you were gorgeous, but no, you don't even have that going for you.
You're free to say what you like about me, but I can't answer that. Why don't you ask him?
What's the point? Even if I did ask him, the answer wouldn't be anything I could agree with. Anyway, the bottom line here is that my shopping trip is your #1 priority tomorrow, and you better not forget it.
Agatha, please. How many times do I have to tell you I can't possibly take you tomorrow? Please reschedule. Literally any other day is fine. I promise I'll make time. I'll take you there and drive you home, and you can spend as long as you like inside the mall.
Do not talk back to me, young lady. Back in my day, you would have gotten the belt for this kind of cheek. Your lack of education is showing. I knew allowing my son to marry a moron was a bad idea. It's pointless talking to you. You listen, young lady, and you listen good. If you don't come and pick me up tomorrow afternoon, I'll never acknowledge you as my son's wife for as long as I live. Hi, Mia, darling. How are you? Listen to this. My friend ordered me some new supplements this week. They're supposed to re-energize your chakras and fill you with positive energy. But it turns out they're a little more expensive than I first thought. At this rate, I'm going to struggle to get by this month.
I see. Did you take all the supplements yet?
No, only a few.
So why not file for a return? Normally, there's a short window where if you're not satisfied with the product, you can send it back, right? Just say you're disappointed with them and you should get your money back.
Excuse me? What on earth are you talking about? Are you seriously suggesting I returned something I already paid for?
Yes. You just said yourself you can't afford them. I don't see how you've got any other choice.
How dare you! Are you trying to embarrass me? I just told you my friend ordered me them from the internet. There's no way I can send them back. She might think I'm poor.
Well, what are you gonna do then?
I'm not going to do anything. My son is going to send me some money. See to it that I get $600 ASAP.
$600? Are you kidding me? I've never heard of a supplement that expensive. What did you say they were for again?
They're for energizing my chakras and unlocking the powers of my subconscious mind. It says on the packet that they'll do wonders for my health and happiness, so I need them. My friend said they're only for highly intelligent, special people.
Agatha, please don't take this the wrong way, but do you think there's any chance you might have been scammed? This all seems a little suspicious to me.
Scammed? Give me a break. As if someone as clever as me would fall for something like that. Besides, she's been buying me things on the internet for years now. Why would she start playing dirty tricks like that on me all of a sudden? As usual, it seems like there's nothing to be gained from speaking to you. Where's my son? Is he home yet?
No, it seems like things have been piling up at work lately. He's been doing more overtime than usual.
Work? Please. If you ask me, the reason he's so busy lately is because he's married to you. I don't think it's a coincidence that he seems so much more stressed ever since you two tied the knot. He hardly even answers my calls anymore. If I'm lucky, he'll respond to my messages once a fortnight.
Like I said, he's busy. He has a lot on his plate right now. You shouldn't take it personally.
Me taking anything from my boy personally? Don't be ridiculous. He loves his mother more than anything. I know full well how demanding his job can be. You don't make $140K a year by lazing around doing nothing. He's bound to be busy on an enormous salary like that. Not that I'd expect someone like you to understand what that means.
Huh? $140,000 a year? My husband makes $140,000 a year?
That's right, I know. I saw his tax returns while I was rummaging through your filing cabinets when I stopped over at your house last year. Oh, my heart filled with pride the moment I saw them. You have no idea how good it felt to find out my son is one of life's winners.
Wait, you rummaged through our... wait, I get it now.
Which is why it should be no problem for him to lend his mother a measly $600. Well, what do you say? Will you see to it what he does?
I wonder, am I right thinking this wouldn't be the first time you've borrowed money from him?
No, it wouldn't. Why?
If you pile enough specks of dust on top of each other, eventually you'll have a mountain. We can't just go handing out hundreds of dollars every time you decide you want to buy something.
What am I supposed to do? It's not like I can help it. I need money to live on, after all.
In that case, get a job.
You better be joking. Do you have any idea how hard I worked to raise that boy all on my own? I was a single mother. I could never work because I had him to think of. And now you're telling me get a job after all this time, like it's just that simple?
Single mother? What the hell? You have a very unusual way of interpreting the past. Your husband passed away after Chris had already grown up and flown the nest. Besides, these days, even people like housewives with massive gaps on their resumes can find work if they look hard enough. The attitudes companies take towards that kind of thing is changing.
You shut your goddamn stupid mouth! Shut up and give me my money now!
No, we can't keep on funding your irresponsible spending like this. You might think Chris lending you money is good for you, but without the means to bring in money of your own, it'll only hurt you in the long run. Needless to say, it's not good for us either. Let's face it, you don't need chakra-boosting supplements to get by, do you? And even if you did, they sure as hell wouldn't be important enough to justify going into debt for.
How dare you speak to me like that, you impertinent little brat! If you're looking for a fight, you're going the right way about it. So, shall I take this as you refusing to send me my own son's money? Is that what you're doing? I know your game, woman. You're trying to hog it all to yourself, aren't you, you shameless gold digger?
I'm so not a gold digger.
In that case, prove it. I want $1,500.
Huh? What? You want how much?
I want $1,500 every month. This is non-negotiable, and if you value your position in this family, you'll need to see it that I get it.
What are you talking about? Why did the numbers shoot up all of a sudden?
I've been holding off until now. You see, I'm so kind and thoughtful. I didn't want to rock the boat or cause any trouble. But I wish I'd just said this from the start. It's such a pain in the butt to have to ask for paltry sums of money every time, and I'm sure you'd rather I didn't bother you every 5 minutes asking for top-ups. It makes far more sense for you to send it monthly in one lump sum. Great, it's decided. Send me $1,500 a month. I'll be phoning my son to let him know about our new arrangement soon.
Please stop this. Impossible is impossible, and putting pressure on us won't change that.
How many times do I have to tell you not to talk back, you little brat? Did your mother instill no discipline in you? What am I saying? Of course she didn't. You will obey your mother-in-law, you worthless failure of a wife. If you don't see to it that I get my money, I'll make sure my son divorces you. One word from me is all it would take, so I suggest you think very carefully about how you proceed from here. Mia, I checked my bank account today again, but the money still hasn't gone in. Explain yourself.
That's right, because we didn't send it.
Ugh, why you're still saying that? You think you're so clever, don't you? My son makes $140K a year. The least you could do is see to it that I have enough money to get by. I bet this is your doing, isn't it? You've probably been whispering all sorts of nasty things about me in his ear. You floundering frustration of a wife. Divorce my son and get out of our lives forever.
You keep harping on about your son's salary, but I'm the one who makes $140,000 a year?
Huh?
Huh? Which part don't you get? I said I'm the one who makes $140,000 a year. Me. The tax returns you found while you were rummaging through our filing cabinets without permission were mine.
What are you talking about? I've never heard such a load of nonsense in my life. There's no way a loser who dropped out of high school, whose highest professional achievement is becoming a housewife, could ever make that much money. Yep, this is all bluster. I know it. My son might be a salary man, but even still he has to file tax returns if he makes $140K a year.
I'm the one making all that money, and that's God's honest truth. Did you actually check the name on the tax returns, or did you get too excited by the fact you were doing something you shouldn't have been to notice?
I don't think I did, but they were obviously my son's.
Wrong. I'm the breadwinner in this family. Chris doesn't have a job.
Huh? What? Wait, what? My son is unemployed? Don't tell lies. If my son's unemployed, how is there a roof over your heads? How is there food on the table? How are the utilities paid?
Like I just told you, because I'm the breadwinner.
Nonsense! I don't believe it. My son is outstanding. He's been a high achiever his whole life and works for a major global company. Why would he take that so lightly by quitting and throwing it all away?
It certainly wasn't a decision he took lightly. Sure, he made a lot of money, but his working conditions were so awful it wasn't worth it.
What are you saying? He quit his job because it was difficult?
He quit because he had a nervous breakdown. He was admitted to the hospital for a few weeks later last year, and he's been visiting for weekly checkups ever since.
A nervous breakdown? Ridiculous! You're lying. My son is no pansy. He's stronger than that. Besides, every time I come over, he comes home in his suit. How do you explain that if he's not working? Ha! Gotcha!
He wears the suit to stop you finding out he quit.
What? Why would he go out of his way to trick me like that? What's wrong with you? If anyone needs admitting to a mental hospital, it's you. Why would you lie like this? As if my son would quit his job without even telling me, his beloved mother first.
It's precisely because of your god-awful attitude towards practically everything that he didn't feel comfortable speaking to you about it.
My god-awful attitude? Ugh! Here we go again! Shut up! Just shut up! Just because you don't want to send me $1,500 a month, money which is rightfully mine because I gave birth to him, by the way, doesn't justify making up vicious lies. You probably think that just because my son is so kind and caring, you can walk all over him like your own personal doormat, don't you? I know your game. You're trying to control him. Well, I won't let you get away with it. You two will be getting a divorce. Now, if you have a brain in that head of yours, I suggest you get your things together and leave before I'm forced to come and eject you from the premises by force. Mia, you two didn't move house, did you?
Oh no, you didn't go to our old house by any chance, did you?
Your old house? I knew it! Where are you right now?
Not telling you.
I phoned my son's company too. It was just as you said. He doesn't work there anymore. He resigned last year.
Great, so I take it you understand now who it is that's supporting this family.
It really has been you all along, hasn't it? I was convinced it was my son.
That's right, it's me and it's always been.
I'm so sorry. I was convinced it was Chris. I had no reason to believe otherwise, so surely you can hardly blame me. I mean, you were a stay-at-home housewife and you two got married, weren't you?
I might have stepped down from my position at the insurance company, but I carried on running my own business as usual. I was only working part-time hours to begin with because I was still adapting to newly married life and had a lot to do around the house. But I realized I might have to start bringing in more money when Chris's mental health took a turn for the worse towards the end of last year. I doubled my hours, and that's when the big money started coming in. I had no idea things would go as well as they did, and I can't tell you what a relief it was.
I see. I had no idea you were so capable and talented, Mia. It looks like I had the wrong idea about you. I see you in a different light now that I know all this. I hereby officially recognize you as my son's wife and my daughter-in-law.
Oh, you do?
Now, if we can just move back onto the topic of my monthly allowance. $1,500 a month shouldn't be a problem, what, with you making so much money, should it? Go on, help an old dear out. I think this could be the beginning of a beautiful relationship between me and you, sweetie. I've always seen potential in you. I just didn't want to say it, lest you get complacent. I promise to treat you like my own daughter from now on.
Nah, I'm good, thanks. We'd prefer it if you forgot about us.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means exactly what it sounds like. Please think of me and your son as no longer existing.
What? Why are you being like this? But you're my beloved daughter-in-law, my Mia. Besides, I finally acknowledged you as part of this family. Isn't that what you wanted all this time?
The only reason you acknowledge me is because you found out I make $140,000 a year? You'd still be treating me like dirt if you didn't know. You'd be comical if you weren't such a disgrace.
No, dear, you've got this all wrong. It's not like that at all. It's not about the money at all. How could I not acknowledge you when you're so clever, capable, and talented? How could I not acknowledge you when you're such an important member of this family? When you were there for my son when he needed you most? When you're continuing to support him even now?
Well, in that case, thanks. I accept your expression of goodwill, but that doesn't change the fact that me and my husband want nothing more to do with you for as long as we live. It's gonna take more than an apology to make up for the years of suffering you put Chris through, for the way you bullied and belittled me ever since me and him got married.
What's that supposed to mean? I put Chris through years of suffering? I don't follow. And I bullied you? Don't be so dramatic. I never did any such thing.
You know, the scariest thing is that you genuinely believe that. Do you think Chris had a nervous breakdown due to work alone? He's strong, and he's certainly not a pansy as you put it. The way you treated him had a huge part to play too.
Me?
Let's face it, you've always been obsessed with the idea of him becoming a high achiever, haven't you? If he didn't get the highest grade, he wasn't good enough. If he didn't get into the best company, he wasn't good enough. He's been living under the weight of your unattainable standards since the day he was born. There's only so much pressure one human being can take. What's worse, when he quit his job, he thought he'd finally be able to rest, recuperate, and take a break from all the stress. But no, he still had you nagging and complaining at him, begging for money like a woman possessed at every opportunity. Why do you think he doesn't answer your calls now? No matter how much he worked, no matter how much overtime he put in, it was never enough. He was barely ever able to spend any of his own salary on himself because it all went to you. When he finally refused because he knew that if he continued, we wouldn't be able to make ends meet, far from understanding and accepting it, you came over in floods of tears and stole them from us while we weren't looking.
I was sure my son was the one bringing in the money. He worked for a major company, and I didn't see any harm in borrowing a little here and there.
A little here and there? Don't make me laugh. And major company or not, everyone knows the regular cubicle workers don't make much money. Besides, anybody, no matter how rich, would soon run out of money if they were lending thousands to their pestering mother every 5 seconds. Do you think money grows on trees?
But you're different, right, Mia? You make $140K a year. You're practically part of the 1%. I'm your mother-in-law, your family, and I'm asking you to help me out here.
I have no intention of giving someone who treats my husband like their own personal ATM and emotional punch bag a cent of my money. You throw the most hysterical of tantrums the moment you don't get your own way. You kick, scream, and shout. You hurl all kinds of abuse at me and Chris. How can I think of someone who only pretends to care about us as long as we're giving her money as my mother-in-law?
I do not hurl abuse at either of you. You're exaggerating. I was merely giving my opinion.
Your opinion? No. You were trying to guilt us into giving you money. You never listened to a word Chris says. Remember how the moment you couldn't get through his cell phone, you'd charge into his office demanding to speak to him, embarrassing the hell out of him in front of his coworkers? How can he think of someone who'll stop at nothing to get her own way with no regard for feelings as his mother?
Fine, I accept it. My behavior was less than desirable. I'm sorry. I won't do anything like that ever again, I promise.
Really? Actually, forget it. I guess it doesn't matter if you're sincere or not. Even if you wanted to try pulling that crap on us again, we're gonna make sure you're not able to.
Please don't say things like that, Mia. Surely we can talk this through without doing anything drastic. Please, just send me the money. I'm not joking when I say I don't have enough to get by.
Really? Sucks to be you. You should really be mad at yourself for blowing your husband's entire inheritance on worthless crap right now.
At this rate, I'm not even going to be able to afford this month's gas bill. If you don't help me, there will be no food on the table and the lights will go out. Please, Mia, I need you. I won't be able to get by much longer without your help.
Not my problem. We're cutting you out of our lives forever.
No, don't. I'm so sorry. I'll never do anything to cause you nuisance ever again. I'll be more thoughtful. I can do it, I swear. Just give me a chance. I'll never annoy or upset you again for as long as I live.
In that case, you won't keep asking me for a monthly allowance because it's an annoying nuisance.
That's different. Please, can you just cover me for this month? I won't ask again after that, please. I promise. I swear on my life. I'll never ask you for another cent.
For now, it's just this month. Next month, it'll be just next month. It never ends. How do I know, you ask? Because that's exactly what you've been doing to Chris the whole time. That's why we're cutting you out of our lives. Your promises mean nothing.
I'm begging you. Mia, please. I'm so sorry.
No. Contrary to what you thought, I won't let you walk all over me like Chris did. You've said it countless times yourself, did you? That there's no point in talking to someone like me. Why would you bother wasting your time trying? The less you expect of me, the better. I'm a worthless failure of a wife after all. After that, apparently my mother-in-law gathered together all the things from her house she didn't need, including all the ornaments and mementos her husband had left behind, and all the things she'd bought with the money she stole from Chris. She sold them in a desperate bid to scrape together the money for the month's utilities. Somehow or other, she actually managed to get by, and delayed the lights going off by another month. But having run out of things to sell, and having exactly zero income of her own, the prospects of her performing another miracle next month are slim. I blocked her on my husband's phone so she couldn't do any more damage to his mental health than she already had. She still begs me for money from time to time, but I just ignore her. It's encouraging to see she's at least managing to keep up with the payments on her phone contract. The only reason I didn't block her myself is because I was curious to see how things went for her after we cut her out of our lives. But the messages are getting a little boring now, and I'll probably end up blocking her after another month or two. The friend who's used to sell her ridiculously overpriced supplements pulled a conveniently timed vanishing act on Agatha after realizing she had no money left. She really was a sitting duck, bad with money and easily deceived, a scammer's wet dream. I guess it's just like they say, a fool and their money are easily parted. I have no idea what the future holds for my mother-in-law, but one thing's for sure, I don't have an ounce of sympathy for her. Maybe it's petty, but I want her to suffer and experience as much pain as she put me and my husband through. The improvement in his mental health was enormous. When he was finally freed of his mother, who it turned out was the main source of his stress all along. He's starting to look more and more like his old self every day, and I'm super thrilled about that. As well as needing to visit the hospital less and less these days, he's also gradually beginning to help me with my online business. It's great to see some structure returning to his life. That said, I understand he's been through a lot. I don't expect anything unreasonable of him. He's important to me, and I'll continue supporting him for as long as he needs me to. I want him to be happy, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. One thing's for certain, I'll be there for him through thick and thin, no matter what.
Alice, where are you right now? It's already 7. Come home, it's getting late.
It's only 7! Stop messaging me about things like this.
Don't start this again. You're the one who always tells me to text you when it gets late. I don't know where you are or what you're doing. I'm worried. Hurry and come home.
Ugh, man, you're so annoying. I'm not coming home tonight. I'm going to stay at a friend's house tonight.
What? I didn't hear anything about this.
That's because I didn't tell you. The two of us are going to an amusement park tomorrow. So it's better to stay there and go in the morning together.
Tomorrow? You can't go tomorrow. Tomorrow is the anniversary of your mom's death. We have to go to the cemetery.
I'm gonna have to give it a miss. You can go on your own.
What? You're not coming? But we go together every year.
Well, this year, I'm not going.
Don't say something like that. It's your mom. You have to go.
No, it's fine. I promised my friend ages ago. I'm not gonna turn her down now the day before. Besides, rather than focusing on the past, I want to focus on my friends in the present.
I see. You're right that you should treat your friends well. Okay, fine. This year I'll go by myself.
Anyway, at my age, I don't want to be going anywhere with you. Stop inviting me everywhere. It's annoying.
Right. Okay. I won't invite you anywhere anymore.
Thanks.
But can you at least promise me one thing? If you're going to be coming home late or staying over at someone's, can you at least tell me beforehand?
Why should I do that?
Because otherwise I'll be worried. I'm your dad. Of course I worry about you if you don't come home.
My dad? We're not related. You're just my stepdad.
I know that. But I have still raised you as my own daughter. You're an important member of my family, even if we're not related by blood.
Gross. I don't want to hear things like that from you. It's embarrassing.
Oh, I'm sorry. But it's how I really feel.
Okay, well, you can think like that on your own. I don't care about you at all.
Don't say that. I made a promise to your mom before she passed that I would look after you. She was always worried about what would happen to you after she was gone.
I would have preferred to just end up on my own. I hate living with you when you're barely scraping by. I can't think of anything worse than living with some old man.
It's not like we're barely scraping by, though. Sure, we're not rich, but we're fine.
No, we're not! All of my parents' friends buy them things whenever they want. You only get me things on my birthday and Christmas.
But I give you an allowance to spend how you want, too.
That's nothing. $200 a month isn't enough to do anything.
What are you saying? $200 is a lot for someone your age. When I was your age, I only got $50 a month at best.
Things are different now. Everything costs more than it did back then. Plus, as a girl, I have to buy clothes and makeup as well. We need way more money than boys.
It's not like I'm giving you that amount for no reason. I asked people who have experience raising children. I decided on an amount that's not too high and not too low. If you think it's not enough, then that's because of the way you're spending it.
Listen, all I've gotten from you are bad childhood memories. And everyone looks at me and feels sorry that I'm not as lucky as they are. Do I really have to live like this all of the time? At least raise my allowance.
Okay, fine. I'll give you an extra $100 a month from now on.
That's not enough. I want 1,000.
That's way too much. I'll give you $300 a month, and that's already a good deal for you. If you want more money, then go get a part-time job.
What? You don't understand a single thing about me. You're such a stingy old man.
Alice, I got a weird letter today. It's addressed to you, but it doesn't say who it's from. Does that ring any bells?
Just throw it all away. It's probably just the girl whose boyfriend I stole writing to complain. Can you believe she would send letters to my house? What a creep. That's why she wasn't able to keep her boyfriend in the first place.
You stole someone's boyfriend? Was there some kind of trouble?
I'm talking about my fiancé. He had a girlfriend before he met me, but of course I won out.
Stop doing things like that. You're going to cause trouble for yourself. You don't want people to have grudges against you. It never ends well.
Ugh, stop trying to lecture me here. I'm already 25. I don't need your advice.
It's exactly because you're 25 that you need to stop doing things like this. Stop going out of your way to make enemies.
She's the one who's at fault in the first place. So she's the creep for holding anything against me. She should have been better if she wanted to keep her guy. Anyway, thanks to her being like that, I'm now going to get married. I'm going to have a good life with him, so I'm not scared of any enemies.
Something bad will happen one day.
Nothing has happened yet, so I'll risk it. I have good luck.
I see. Okay, then I won't say anything about it.
Yeah, don't. Your lectures are so annoying.
Sorry about that. By the way, have you chosen where you're going to hold the wedding?
I'm looking at a bunch of places right now. There's no way I want to compromise on my wedding day, so I'm looking at all of my options.
Hey Alice, I heard that you're looking for your biological father. You're not planning on inviting him to the wedding, are you?
What? Who did you hear that from? How do you know something like that?
So you really are looking for him?
Yeah? And so what? He is my real father after all. It's normal to want to meet him.
You should stop looking for him. I've told you many times before, but it's better not to get involved with him.
All you ever do is talk badly of my real dad. What's up with that? Stop doing that, will you? I'm looking for him because I want to meet him. I don't care what you say.
Why do you think your mom broke up with him in the first place? He's not a good guy, and you shouldn't get involved.
I've only heard Mom's side of the story. I don't actually know what happened between them when they were married. It doesn't make sense to put all the blame on the dad.
You must still remember a bit from when your mom first left him, though, right? She was completely haggard and burnt out. He was definitely the cause of that.
I don't believe everything that Mom said. I've still not gotten Dad's side of it. Maybe I would have been way happier if he'd gotten custody of me instead of Mom.
How could you even say that?
What, you think I've been happy until now? In the end, Mom died anyway, and then I was left with you to take care of me.
I told you that I have always thought of you and raised you as my own daughter. It doesn't matter that we're not related by blood.
I don't agree with that. It matters to me. If we're not related by blood, then you're just a complete stranger to me. Of course I would want to find my real dad. I want him to be there on my wedding day and see me in my dress.
I don't want you to feel regret about this. You'll probably be really disappointed when you actually meet him.
I know that you have something against him. That's why you keep talking badly about him. I get it, so just stop it already.
That's not true. I've told you countless times that I heard from your mom what kind of person he was.
But you never actually met him in person, have you? So how can you know if any of that is actually true? Other relatives have told me that he was a really good guy.
What? Who told you something like that?
It doesn't matter who told me. They also said that the real reason they divorced was unclear. And there are plenty of people who badmouth their ex after they break up. I bet Mom was one of those people. Dad is probably actually a really good person.
You can't trust the words of someone who doesn't know your dad that well. Maybe he seems nice on the surface, but you have to think about what his real personality might be like.
You also don't know anything about him you've never met. So how am I supposed to trust anything you say about him? That's why I want to meet him myself and decide. I'm not a kid anymore. I don't have to listen to what you tell me to do. Just leave me alone.
Okay, fine. I won't be saying anything else. But remember that I warned you. Do what you want. Alice, I heard that you chose the wedding location. Have you also chosen the date?
Yeah, the date's all set. I also know when I'm moving out of here.
You're going to move in with your fiancé and his parents, right?
Yeah, we'll live there until we find a place of our own.
I guess the time for us to part has finally come. It'll be lonely here.
Yeah? I can't wait to get out of here. There will never be a reason for me to come back either.
Really? Do you really hate me that much?
It's all your fault that I couldn't be happy growing up. I don't care if you feel sad or lonely. Don't think that I share those feelings. I wish that my dad had been the one to take me instead of Mom.
You're still going on about that?
I say that because I met him. I found him.
Wait, what? You met your dad?
Yeah, and everything I heard from you and Mom was completely wrong.
What did you talk to him about?
Nothing in particular. Just how things have been and what's been going on in our lives.
I see. Was there anything else? Did he say or do anything to you?
What? Don't come at me asking things like that.
But I am still worried about you, even if you're now an adult.
I don't need you to worry about me. I'm fine without you. Oh, and by the way, I have some important information about the wedding. Turns out my real dad is the CEO of a company, and I'm going to invite him to walk me down the aisle. So, you're not allowed to come.
Wait, Alice. Don't get involved with that man. It's dangerous.
Again with these lies! I've had enough. I know that you were just making up lies about him so that I didn't go looking for him, but I won't fall for that anymore. I've actually met him now and know that he is actually a really nice person.
Are you seriously going to invite him to the wedding? Even though I was the one who raised you? You're going to just go over to him after everything?
If you had raised me better, I would have allowed you to come. But I feel nothing but resentment towards you. Because of you, I had nothing but memories of a miserable childhood.
Miserable? What are you talking about?
You never bought me all of the things I wanted. The allowance you gave me was never enough for anything either. If I had the chance to live with my dad, I know that never would have been a problem.
Don't you think you're raising the bar too much here? You act like you grew up poor, but we're entirely middle class. You need to get rid of that greedy attitude towards money. It's going to affect your marriage in the end.
Don't lecture me, you're nothing more than a stranger. And besides, my fiancé's family is rich. If anything, they think about money the exact same way I do. And my real dad is rich too. You're the only poor one in my life.
I raised you as my own daughter.
Well, I've never thought of you as my father. Look at me now. I'm marrying into a rich family and I have reunited with my wealthy father. This is exactly the life that I was always supposed to have. I was never supposed to live with a commoner like you.
Do you know how upset your mother would be to hear this?
I don't care. She was an idiot herself. She divorced her wealthy husband and married a commoner like you instead. It's probably because she was such an idiot that she developed a tumor and died so young. Or maybe it was because of her illness that she wasn't able to think clearly and made such poor decisions.
Don't talk that way about your mom. Whatever, I've had enough. I hope you don't regret this later. I won't think of you as my daughter from now on. That's what you want, isn't it?
There's no way I will regret this. Never message me again. Goodbye forever. Dad, help me. I can't take this anymore.
What do you want? Didn't you say to never contact you again?
Oh, just forget about that. You're the only person I can go to.
What are you on about? Even though I raised you your whole life, you didn't even let me come to your wedding. Then you dismissed me as some commoner who you never considered to be your dad?
I know I said that, but things didn't work out as I thought they would. Everything started turning sour.
Yeah, like what?
I'm talking about my real dad. At first, he was really kind, and I thought that he was a good person, but then he started to change.
Started to change? Be more clear. I'm busy and I don't have time to try and read between the lines of what you're saying.
He started to ask me for money, and then threatened me when I refused.
I see. That's why I told you to not get involved with him.
Why is he asking his daughter for money? He has his own business, so he should have plenty of money of his own.
You were tricked, obviously. How many times did I tell you that he wasn't a good person?
Tell me everything that you know about him. He seems really scary. He keeps following me around and demanding money. He even came into the house and started demanding money from my in-laws. Everyone is really fed up with his behavior.
And so what? Why come to me now?
You know about him. I want you to tell me what you know. Why did he and my mom actually divorce?
I told you before already.
I know, but I want you to tell me in more detail.
You said that nothing I say about him can be trusted, didn't you?
The situation was different back then. Stop beating around the bush and just tell me.
Man, you're unbelievable. Is that how you speak to someone that you come to ask a favor of? Especially considering the last things you said to me.
I'm sorry about that. I was riding a high at the time and said some cruel things to you. I apologize for it, so please just tell me.
I don't have any hard evidence for it, so I can't say it's 100% true. But your mother said that he is probably involved in some criminal activities.
What? He's a criminal?
He told you that he's a CEO, right? But if you look up the address of his supposed company, the only thing that comes up is a ramshackle hut. It's just a front.
What do you mean?
It's probably just the address of a shell company.
What's that?
It's a company that is registered as a legitimate business, but acts as a shield for other criminal dealings. Your dad is most likely involved in some criminal organization that uses that company to hide how they use their money, or for money laundering. Your mom didn't want you to get involved in all that and ran away from him, taking you with her, of course.
Well, that's not good. That means he's a bad guy, right?
I told you that your mom said he had two faces. He knows how to be nice and is good at winning people over. That way, he tricks everyone at first. But then when he reveals his true face, things get bad. What do you think? Does that sound about right? I've never met the guy, so I can't really say.
That sounds exactly like him. Even when he's laughing, if you look at his eyes, they're not. And he becomes really threatening when I don't want to give him money. I always feel that he might even resort to violence sometime.
I guess you did finally realize what his true self is. That's the kind of person your father is. You always were a troublemaker as well, so I guess you got it from him.
Don't compare me to someone like him. He never listens to what anyone says, and even if I bring up the police or anything like that, he still comes to my in-laws' house. At this rate, he's going to bleed us dry.
Well, he probably has a group of criminals behind him, so I doubt he cares that much about the police. I guess your luck ran out the moment you made contact with him.
Why didn't you tell me any of this before? Did you keep quiet on purpose?
Every time I tried to talk to you about him, you would tell me to shut it. Then you would say it has nothing to do with me. Don't push responsibility onto others.
But you never told me just how bad he was. If I had known this, I never would have wanted to meet him.
You didn't listen to me no matter what I tried to say to you. I warned you countless times. You made up some story in your head about what he was like and approached him of your own choice. You brought this onto yourself. So from now on, you better do your best to get along with him real nice.
Why would you say something like that when you know that I'm in such a bad spot? How could you be so cruel to your own daughter?
You're not my daughter anymore. Did you forget that already? That's what you wanted to happen. Any bonds we might have had as a parent and a child are gone. In the end, I'm just some random stranger that has no blood relation to you. In that case, I don't feel a single thing. I'm just a stranger after all.
Don't say that, and please help me. I know I said some cruel things, but I'm sorry about that.
I don't care what strangers say to me. It doesn't matter to me at all.
I just didn't know the truth of the situation. I never thought that my real dad would be such a scumbag. Now even my relationship with my in-laws is getting worse because of him. In the end, you're the only one I can rely on for help.
Things aren't going well with your in-laws either?
That's because of how my dad acts towards them. Ever since then, they've started to view me with contempt, saying that they wish their son hadn't married me and complaining about me every day.
Well, I'm not surprised since you brought such a burden onto them. Imagine their daughter-in-law's father barging into the house, demanding money from them. Anyone would be angry to have to deal with that.
But it's not my fault. I'm also a victim here.
It's true that it's not your fault that your dad is such a scumbag. But it's your fault that you went after him and dragged him into other people's lives. I warned you so many times, but you just ignored me. And on top of that, you made fun of me and your mother.
I'm really sorry about everything I said. I want to go back to how it was before. Will you let me move back in with you? I want to get a divorce, but I don't think I'm brave enough to do it on my own.
You want me to support you again? Give me a break. I'm done with raising children.
Even if it's just for a short time. Please? I finally realized that you were always the one who thought about and cared for me the most.
So, you get into trouble and you finally realize that and come to me for help? Isn't that convenient? I'm just some guy who wasn't able to become your dad. I'm not going to be used by you anymore. Don't come asking a stranger like me for help when you're in trouble. After that, Alice kept being followed by her father, and he kept demanding money from her. There were times when she felt in danger and called the police, but they didn't do anything or pay any attention to her. Even with her calling the police, her dad didn't let up and kept on hanging around asking for money. Once her in-laws found out that her father really was involved in criminal activities, her mother-in-law couldn't take it very well. She ended up in the hospital with stress-induced complications in her gut, leading to a very awkward situation for Alice. In the end, to try and get away from him, they all abandoned the house and moved somewhere else. Alice took the full blame for everything with her in-laws and husband constantly blaming her for bringing the situation about. Alice messaged me for help again and again, but each time I didn't change my stance and refused to help her. I feel bad for my deceased wife, but all the feelings that I had for Alice as my daughter have completely disappeared. In order for me to also completely cut any ties that I had with Alice, I sold the house where she had grown up, and am now living a peaceful life in a small house on my own. Although I used to feel sad whenever Alice would tell me that she didn't care about me or consider me her father, I don't feel even the slightest shred of loneliness now. If anything, I feel like a big weight has been lifted from my shoulders. From now, I'm just going to focus on myself and try to live the rest of my days out in peace.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Hello there, Sally. You do have a gift ready for next week's memorial service, don't you? I hope you don't think you can forget about your responsibilities just because it's only going to be family and close friends.
Oh, hi, Debbie. Yep, I am as ready for the service as I could be.
Oh, you are? I hadn't heard from you, so I assumed you must have forgotten all about it. You seem very busy with work. You haven't even been cooking for my son recently.
I've had a lot of overtime over the last few days.
I don't want to hear your excuses. How lucky that I happened to pay him a visit with some of my award-winning winter stew. He would probably have starved if not for me. Do you think it's acceptable to let your husband starve, dear?
He'd only just eaten a few hours ago. I'm not sure there was any danger of him starving. Besides, he's more capable of cooking on his own meals.
Good grief, the things you say are beyond ridiculous sometimes. Cooking and housework are a woman's duty. I'll never acknowledge you as my son's wife until you start doing your job properly. How are you supposed to learn anything when you're cooped up in that godforsaken office all the time? Women's liberation was a mistake.
I'm sorry.
I made this crystal clear to you when you two got married, Sally. That you're to be there to support my son.
Yes, I know that, but we both work long hours. It's more like we support each other.
Didn't I tell you I don't want to hear your excuses? You haven't even produced any children yet, and this is how you speak to me. You couldn't be doing a worse job of fulfilling your duties to my son and this family if you tried. You're already in your 30s for crying out loud. Can't you hear the clock ticking, dear? Tick-tock, tick-tock. It's the sound of your eggs drying up. You do intend on providing me with grandchildren, don't you?
Yeah, of course we want kids, but we can't go blindly rushing into a decision like that. The timing has to be right.
Why do you say it like you're waiting for it to magically happen on its own? You make the timing yourselves. Good grief, this is why you're no good. All it is with you is excuses, excuses, and more excuses.
Right. I'm sorry, Debbie.
You think apologizing gets you off the hook? It's always the same with you. You ignore everything I say and think I'll forget all about it just because you apologize.
It's really not like that. It's just that my job is important to me.
Work? Important to a woman? Now I've heard it all. Oh, why don't you leave the boys' business to the boys and start doing your real job? If you had an ounce of respect for me or this family, you would have had a bun in the oven within a few months of marrying my son. When I was your age, my Darius was already in kindergarten, you know. You need to watch yourself, girl. The clock's always ticking. If you're not careful, the ship will leave the port without you on it, because you're so damn focused on that silly job of yours. Tick-tock, Sally.
Thanks for the heads up, Debbie. I'll bear that in mind.
If only your abilities as a wife were as impressive as your replies. Not that I ever expected much of you to begin with, but this is my son's life we're talking about here, and I will not have it ruined by a second-rate floozy like you.
Hey, Debbie. It was nice to see you at the memorial today. Thanks for all the food. It was really kind of you to make that lasagna, and the meat pie was amazing. You've got some serious cooking skills.
That's because, unlike you, I put a lot of time and effort into excelling in the womanly crafts. Don't get the wrong idea, girl. I did not make any of that food for you. You only got anything because you hung on like an underfed child after the service ended, so I had no choice but to bring it out with you still around. It was only supposed to be for my son and the rest of my family. My real family, that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had no idea.
Why didn't you go straight home when the service ended? I don't remember inviting you to the buffet.
I was about to leave when your husband called me over. He said I should stay because you were just about to start bringing out the food.
What? My Peter said that. Good grief. Whatever will I do with that man? He knows how deeply I detest you. Are you sure you didn't mishear him?
I really don't think I did.
Are you sure he wasn't just saying it to be polite because there were other people around? Yes, that'll be what it was. You weren't supposed to oblige him, dimwit.
Sorry.
That food was supposed to be for my family. In fact, my family should have been the only ones at the memorial in the first place. I only agreed to let you help me with the preparations because you offered. You weren't supposed to actually turn up to the damn thing. What's it going to take for you to learn your place? I'm losing all hope.
From the way you're talking about me, I get the impression you don't think of me as your own family.
Obviously, dimwit. Are we related? No, we're complete strangers.
I'm sure you do think of me as a stranger, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win your approval and have you acknowledge me as part of this family. I'm serious about Darius, and I want to prove that to you, no matter how long it takes.
You become a part of this family. You couldn't win my approval in 10 lifetimes at the rate you're going, Missy. You'll have to stop with these jokes now, dear. My bowels have been loose lately, and an emergency of that kind is the last thing I need.
Still, I'm gonna do my best.
Like I just told you, it ain't gonna happen. Why bother wasting your energy? You don't have what it takes to win my approval. Rather than that, just focus on doing your job as my son's wife.
You mean, have kids?
What a relief! You do have something resembling a brain in that skull of yours. Yes, giving me grandchildren is the least you could do. If you don't, me and you will be strangers for as long as you live. Naturally, failing to produce children would also mean divorce.
What? Divorce?
Yes, dear, divorce. If you can't do your job as his wife, I'll have him divorce you and marry someone who can. The earlier he gets rid of you, the better. He'll have a wider selection of partners to choose from that way.
But I don't want a divorce.
What you want is of no importance. I'll see to it that my boy has a long, hard think about your future together if you continue to defy me any longer. What good are you if you refuse to produce children? What's the point in being married to a barren wasteland? Men can have kids at any age. As for you, tick-tock, Missy. If you won't deliver the goods, I'll have him exchange you for a younger model who will.
Debbie, we're going through infertility treatment.
What did you just say? Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious me. I knew it. You're defective goods.
Me and Darius are doing our best in our own way. Please, would you stop saying things like that? Things are difficult enough as it is without you being cruel on top of it.
Is the defective article talking back to me? Back in the good old days, women like you were handed a set of divorce papers and cast aside like the dead weight they were. There's nothing else for it. I was willing to give you a chance before, but now, it's no good. You have to separate.
Even if the treatment fails and we can't ever have kids, I have no intention of leaving Darius.
What you want is of no importance to me, young lady. If you can't fulfill your duties as his wife, there's no point in you being married. I must tell my husband about this at once.
Debbie, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'd really appreciate if you could try to be a little more understanding of our situation. Can't we compromise somehow? To be honest, I was dreading telling you, but I didn't want you to think we were trying. Please.
Let's see. I need to hear what my son thinks about this. All right, fine. Let's all get together for an honest, frank discussion about your future.
Really?
Yes, I'm prepared to accept I've been a little inconsiderate. But I mean it when I say I want grandkids. And that's never going to change. Darius is my only son after all. Surely it's only natural I'd have expectations of you.
I get that.
Make no mistake, this only means I'll hear out what you both have to say. Don't mistake my kindness for approval.
That's enough for me. Thank you.
Don't think this means divorce is off the table either. I'm still prepared to do what needs to be done if you give me nothing but excuses. My son has wants and needs of his own. All right, it's settled. Let's all discuss it over dinner the day after tomorrow. There's a restaurant I've been dying to go to lately.
You want to do this in public at a restaurant? Are you sure?
If I have to listen to a depressing sob story about how my son's wife's womb is a barren wasteland, I at least want to enjoy some delicious food to soften the unpleasantness of it all. Surely you'd feel better about the whole thing if you could enjoy some good food while we talked.
I guess. Okay, the day after tomorrow, right? I'll get ready.
Yes, I'll be picking you up in the car. I'll come to your house first, and then we can pick Darius up outside the station after he gets off work. I take it you do plan on leaving the office on time.
Yeah, I've been finishing early every day of this week, so there shouldn't be any problems on that front. Thanks for going to the trouble of picking me up. I appreciate it.
My husband said the car needed washing, so I can stop by at the car wash before I get you. 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll see you the day after tomorrow.
Hey, Debbie, are you there? You told me yesterday we'd all be coming to today's dinner. I've been waiting ages for you to come and get me now. Is everything okay?
Do forgive me, Sally. I decided last minute we should have dinner with just me, Peter, and Darius instead. You know, my family. My real family. I told Peter not to bother stopping by at your house.
What?
You can watch the house on your own instead. The restaurant we're heading to is a little on the expensive side. Such luxury would be wasted on the likes of you. I know I said you could come, but the more I thought about it, the more ridiculous it seemed. Think about it. How can I possibly justify wasting money on food that good on the likes of you?
Was this your plan all along? Were you lying when you said we were gonna discuss our treatment too?
Me? A lie? Scandalous. I've never told a lie in my life. At the time, I was genuinely considering hearing you out, but then I realized the futility of it all. Come on, dear. What could possibly be gained by hearing some defective article give me her sob story on how she can't provide me with grandchildren? Exactly nothing. So, why have you spoiled the atmosphere while we eat? You can stay home.
I'm pretty sure Darius is gonna get up and leave the moment you tell him I'm not coming.
Don't talk nonsense, dear. We already picked him up at the station. He didn't have any complaints when I told him you wouldn't be coming. It would appear he's more receptive towards my remarriage idea than you would have liked to believe.
Huh? No way. That can't be.
Why didn't he object when I told him you weren't coming then? He just nodded his head, and that was the end of it. He's probably just as sick of you as I am. And why wouldn't he be? Do you know how embarrassing it is for a man for his woman to need fertility treatment? You hear stories about it all the time.
Darius thinks of me more than anyone.
Wake up and smell the coffee, Sally. He clearly doesn't anymore. Guess what? I already found several candidates for his replacement wife.
He seemed opposed to the idea at first, but he soon changed his tune when I showed him the pictures of his new potential brides. Looks like you're getting tossed to the wayside, Missy.
No way. My husband would never abandon me.
What value does a woman in her 30s have to anyone? What's more, you're damaged goods. You can't even have kids. Stop burying your head in the sand and face reality. Don't think anyone in this family actually likes you just because my son and husband pretended to be nice to you all this time.
You really hate my guts, huh, Debbie?
Obviously, dimwit. You don't have a single redeeming quality. Your face is mediocre, your personality's rotten, you're unfeminine, you couldn't be any plainer if you tried. You're just some sad, futureless, worn-out old hag. You let my son do the housework while slaving away at that damn company you're so obsessed with. And to top it all off, you're incapable of having children. You don't deserve to call yourself a woman. What value is there in you even being alive?
I can't take this anymore. You've made it crystal clear about how you feel about me.
I'm pleased we have an understanding. I suggest you get started on packing up your things sooner rather than later. I'll be in touch when we decide on a replacement wife for my son.
Do as you please.
Don't worry, dear, I shall. It's such a shame to have to tell you this, but your happily married life is hereby over. Hurry up and tell Mommy and Daddy you'll be coming home. Me and my family are breaking all ties with you. Sally, dear, it turns out we were able to reach a conclusion on your future while we were still in the car. Even I didn't expect things to move along this quickly. Both Darius and Peter told me I can do whatever I want.
I see. And you felt the need to go out of your way to tell me that?
Who do you think you're speaking to, young lady? Start showing some manners. I'm still your mother-in-law for the time being.
I don't have any obligation to be nice to you, Debbie.
Whatever, I could care less. If impotently seething like this makes you feel better, who am I to stop you? You'll be nothing but a distant memory before long. This luxury dinner for just the three of us is going to be amazing.
You wouldn't happen to be on your own right now, would you, Debbie?
Well, yes, I am. Why? The restaurant doesn't have a car park, so Peter dropped me off outside while him and Darius go off and look for a space. They'll be back anytime now.
Have you been waiting for a while already?
It's only been 15 minutes. The roads are busy around this part of town at this hour. Don't worry, they'll be back any minute now. Anyway, what does any of this have to do with you? You're the only one on your own here.
Oh, I'm not on my own. Your husband and son are here with me right now.
What? They're with you, but why would they? What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense.
I got a message from Darius, inviting me out for a meal, just after your last message earlier. Let's go out for a meal as a family, babe. Just me, you, and my dad. I'm in the car with them both right now. We're on our way to another restaurant.
Excuse me? No way. No way! You're obviously lying because you're bitter about being abandoned. They just dropped me off outside the restaurant. Why would they possibly ditch me to eat with the likes of you? There really isn't a car park here. It's not like my husband was lying. They just went to find a parking space.
Don't worry. They found a parking space because they drove straight home. They told me all about how you wouldn't shut up about Darius divorcing me and remarrying a more suitable candidate, or making fun of me because of the infertility treatment. Well, Darius's patience finally reached its limit. He's so sick and tired of you, he never wants to see you again for the rest of his life. Your son just disowned you, Debbie.
No way. My darling boy would never do that. Besides, he never said anything in the car. If his patience had really reached its limits, as you claim, he would have spoken out.
Oh, he knows you're so arrogant and so self-absorbed that speaking to you is pointless. He's done with you. He said you may as well forget about him because he's not your son anymore.
Oh, no, you don't, young lady. Stop right there. I can see what you're doing. You're trying to scare me because I wouldn't tolerate the fact that you had the nerve to be infertile. Aren't you? Well, it won't work. As if my own family would ditch me outside a restaurant and leave me to eat on my own.
I can assure you most definitely will be eating on our own.
They have been gone a while. Wait, are you serious? Did they actually abandon me? That's so horrible. How could they do this?
Isn't it obvious? You treated me like I wasn't even human. Did you really think my husband was gonna tolerate you speaking about his wife like that? You had no right to treat me the way you did, and now you're paying the price.
Sally, where are you right now, sweetie? Won't the three of you at least come back to get me? It's getting cold out here.
Sorry, we're going out for a family dinner, which means you're not invited. You'll have to make your own way home.
Oh my god. Don't say things like that. Please, will you tell my son to get his dad to answer the phone? I must have tried calling him 10 times by now. Darius won't pick up either. Are their phones broken?
Nope. Their phones are fine. They just don't want to speak to you.
Fine, you win. Have it your way. I'll hear out what you have to say. Let's all sit down and have a chat like we originally intended. Just me, you, and Darius. That's what you wanted, isn't it? Please, just come back and get me. I don't know the bus routes around here.
No. You can take your chat and stick it where the sun doesn't shine. I couldn't care less whether I get your approval anymore. In fact, I'd prefer if you kept it yourself, along with your hateful, malicious comments and outdated opinions.
You don't want my approval. Do you really think we could go on like this, Sally? Get real. You're my son's wife.
I did my best to try and compromise with you, to try and prove how hard I wanted to win your acceptance as a member of this family. I couldn't do anything about the fact I worked long hours and I wasn't willing to quit my job. But beyond that, I did everything I could. I kept on top of the housework on my own to the best of my ability. And even while I was working, I went out of my way to make sure Darius had quality, home-cooked food on the table whenever he got back from work. I went out of my way to make it to family events and gatherings, even booking time off work despite my schedule being hectic. But eventually, I realized no matter how hard I worked, I'd never win your approval. And I've kept pushing myself past my limits. Like that, I only end up in an early grave.
That's simply not true. I was willing to accept you, dear. I really was. But you had to prove your dedication to my son and this family by giving us children first.
You see, Debbie, the problem with that is, I think your outdated way of thinking is disgusting. There was a time when I hoped we could get to know each other and build something resembling a positive relationship one day. But I realized that going out of my way to try and win the approval of someone as toxic as you could never end well. You're the vilest, most black-hearted person I've ever met.
Vile and black-hearted? And what does calling me such awful things make you? Take a look in the mirror, bitch. This is no way to speak to your mother-in-law. You disrespectful little cretin.
I don't think of you as my mother-in-law. My only in-law is Peter, because unlike you, he's actually a decent human being.
Sally, please. I forgot to bring my purse. I'm already sat down in the restaurant. I had to come inside because it was getting so darn cold outside. I ordered some drinks and I'm feeling a little tipsy. I can't pay the bill without my purse.
Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie. You seem to be making a tragic misunderstanding. You seem to think that's my problem when it's not.
Oh, come on, don't be like that. Just because me and you might not be on the best of terms doesn't mean you have to let me get in trouble. What am I supposed to do? Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is going to be for me? It's bad enough already after no one showed up despite me telling the waiter there'd be 3 of us.
Not my problem. Me and you are strangers, and what you do or what happens to you when the restaurant finds out you're stealing their alcohol has nothing to do with me.
Sally, please, listen to me. I'm sorry. Look, I just apologized, so please, I'm begging you. Won't you all come back and get me? Let's have dinner together.
Nope. We'll be eating as a family tonight, which means you're not invited. You're the one who tried to kick me out of your lives, remember? You're on your own now. Fix your own mess. Good luck finding a new family, 'cause this one's done with you. After that, me, Darius, and Peter all went to a fancy restaurant downtown together, where we had the most amazing steaks. No one had any desire to rescue Debbie from the mess she'd gotten herself into. In fact, we all find it kind of amusing. But since all she ordered was a few drinks, they gave her the benefit of the doubt and agreed to let her go home and come back with the money. She went back and paid the next day, and that was the end of that. However, she didn't have the money for a bus or a taxi. She had to walk back the whole 5 miles to her house at night in the middle of winter. Now that's what I call karma. Debbie was furious at her husband for not going out to pick her up. But when she started telling him off, he suddenly lost it with her and yelled at her so loud it said the screams of rage could be heard all the way from Jupiter. I guess we all have our limits. She soon zipped it when she realized Peter had reached his. He swore he'd divorce her if she tried to pull any of her old crap on him again, and something tells me he knew he meant it. I think we'll be seeing a much quieter, more reserved Debbie from here on out. After she started behaving herself, we decided to tell her the real reason we were going through infertility treatment was in fact because of Darius, not me. Mouth agape, all the color drained from her face before. She immediately got down on her knees and apologized profusely. But there are some things you don't forgive or forget. I'll definitely never forget what she put me through. That said, she did seem genuinely remorseful. She is still Darius's mother, so we agreed not to completely break things off with her. We haven't decided how often we'll see her yet, but we're thinking maybe once a year. 3 months after the events of today's drama, and after finally placing some distance between ourselves and the mother-in-law from hell, I finally fell pregnant. Darius and Peter were over the moon, and we held a family gathering at our place, just the 3 of us. Obviously, Debbie wasn't invited. There was a tiny part of me that felt sorry for her. But when I reminded myself why we were keeping our distance in her in the first place, and considered the strong likelihood of her sticking her nose in dew, how we bring up the baby if we allowed her to worm her back way into our lives, that sympathy soon disappeared. She might be on her best behavior right now, but that still doesn't mean I trust her. I'm not risking through anything like that again, which is why me and my husband plan on maintaining a healthy distance from her going forward. I have nothing but love and gratitude for Darius and Peter for being there to support me throughout this whole thing. And I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure they always know how much I appreciate them. Let's all spread the love, folks!
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.